All right, this is position 522 CP 213200. Jasmine Manikas. I apologize, ma'am, if I have mispronounced your name. 98 days without indictment, terroristic threats, willful obstruction, felony, simple battery. As of October, there is a no bond. Pre-trial.
When it comes to defendant Manikas, she has 30 prior arrests. She has a conviction for simple assault. She's currently on probation for Ryan in a penal institution, sentenced in 2022 for 15 years. She also is on probation for felony obstruction, sentenced in 2018, 1 year confinement, 4 years probation. She's on probation for theft by shoplifting, sentenced in 2018, 6 months confinement, 4 years, 6 months, nothing further.
All right, Ms. Rosenhuber.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Manikas is 33 years old. She's resided here in Georgia for the past 15 years. She grew up in and out of group homes and through the foster care system. She did graduate high school, and most recently she was working at La Quinta Inn as a housekeeper, and before that she was working at Little Caesars. Judge, she does have a long MH history, and we have been adamant about working on getting her into a program. So far, our social workers haven't been successful in doing that, but her family's reached out to me. The reentry program at the jails reached out to me. And Judge, she just needs a bond at this time that she would be able to afford, that her family could post so that she can go to a program. And I've been told by Ms. Manikas, as well as her family members, they don't intend on posting it until she has somewhere to go. So if that's any assurance to the court that is the plan. So we'd ask for a reasonable bond at this time. Thank you.
All right. What says the state?
Good evening, Your Honor. In light of the defendant's extensive criminal history, the fact that she's on 3 active probations, the state is recommending a bond in the amount of $15,000 broken down as follows: $5,000 on count 1, $5,000 on count 2, and $5,000 on count 3. We'd also be requesting special conditions of no weapons, no contact with the officer whose name I don't have written down, and stay away from the incident location if she is able to bond out. 4745 SR 138 in Union City.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact. There's an Officer Brown, Sergeant Corridor, Corridor, Officer Mayfield, and Lieutenant Reed, unless it's in their official capacity. Yeah, an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical, and following any program that they get you into, ma'am. And stay away from 4745 Highway 138 in Union City. I'll go with the state's recommendation, 15,000 total, 5 on each. Best of luck to you, ma'am. All right, now we'll go to Joseph Taylor. We got Ms. Gowdy here.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
All right, Ms. Gowdy. Position 1, pretrial. Is Cobb here? Yeah, Cobb's there. Mr. Joseph Taylor Joseph, 21 CP 202174. 526 days with no indictment, possession of a firearm or a knife during the commission of certain felonies, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. There is a $20,000 good bond as of August the 11th. Pre-trial.
Only prior arrests.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Gowdy.
And yes, Your Honor, before the court is Mr. Taylor. He's 31 years old. As the court is aware, he's been in custody for 526 days, Your Honor, without indictment. Had his preliminary hearing back in August of 2022, Your Honor. Probable cause was found at that time. Officer was available. There should be no, delay right now in terms of the indictment, Your Honor. And yet still 5 months later, he hasn't been indicted. He's been in custody for well over a year, coming up on his 2-year mark pretty soon, Your Honor. The reason why we put him on this calendar is not because we have any confidence that he'll be able to post bond. Unfortunately, his family is indigent. He's indigent. He's lost his housing. He's lost his job, everything else, Your Honor. But we simply put him on this calendar to keep him in the queue, Judge, keep bringing him to the court's attention that he's just going to sit and keep continuing languishing in jail, Your Honor, without an indictment if we don't continue to bring it to the court's attention, Your Honor. So as it relates to bond, we're asking for the court to consider reducing bond to $5,000 total to make him eligible for the bail project. I do have a good address, Your Honor, for Mr. Taylor. If released on bond, he'd be residing with his girlfriend, his children, at the address of 2768 Cactus Drive. That's in Orange Park, Florida, Your Honor, zip code 32065. I don't have any concerns about Mr. Taylor having contact with the victim at the time of the incident, Your Honor.
Let me call the litigation manager.
At the time of the incident, Your Honor, Mr. Taylor unfortunately was homeless. It appears that the listed victim in the case is also homeless, Your Honor. And so as a result, I doubt Mr. Taylor will have any means of actually having in contact with him, knowing his address, knowing his phone number, knowing how to get in contact with his relatives or loved ones, Your Honor. So there should be no concern about whether or not there's ability to kind of influence witnesses' testimony, Your Honor. I didn't hear pretrial recite any FTAs, and I didn't see any FTAs in reviewing his NCIC, Your Honor. So I believe if given a bond, he would return to court to address this matter, Your Honor. So we're asking for a $5,000 bond at this time, Your Honor.
What says the state?
Judge, I hate to interrupt you on this one. I'm sorry, but the jail is saying that that's not the Joseph Taylor. If you can go to a next one till they can confirm that that's the correct Joseph Taylor that your references per lieutenant. So maybe if you can go to another one and then they can confirm that that's actually the Joseph Taylor.
Oh, because there's a Justin and a Joseph. That was a good job, Miss Gowdy. I'm gonna have to make you do that one more time, looks like.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Judge.
Sorry. All right, let's see. Jaleel Tucker, raise your hand the best you can. There you go. Appreciate it. Position
Okay, thank
12. Jaleel Naquise Tucker, 21 CP 205179. Excuse me. 401 days without indictment, $60,000 good bond as of August the 1st. Possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of firearm during the commission of certain felonies, willful obstruction, unlawful for a person employed or associated with a criminal gang or to conduct criminal street gang activity. This bond is
I think it's 60,000, Judge.
$60,000 good bond. And since you're an ADA, don't forget, I like to hear numbers from the state. Numbers. Pre-trial.
Judge, in regards to Mr. Tucker, multi-state offender, 9 arrests in Georgia, 3 in California, 19 in Delaware, multiple open cases. 21 SC 177536, theft by receiving stolen property, obstruction, Judge Eaton. 22 SC 180328, Schedule 1, cocaine, street gang activity. 22 SC 182141, street gang activity, 3 counts. Attempted capital offense, armed robbery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 3 counts. Firearm during 22 SC 182995, street gang activity, 3 counts plus other charges. There was on his GCIC a juvenile offense for a capital offense. Nothing further.
All right, hold on one second. 7 North, booth 3. Shut the door and sit down. Shut the door and sit down. Gentlemen, one more time. You get up, you wander around, you walk out, stand up, scratch something, dig at something. You come back next week. I'll reset it. This will not happen again. I'm tired of it. Stay in your seat. Shut the door. There's nothing important going on outside.
Si se paran, los va a pasar su caso para otro día. No se pongan de pie.
All right, go. Who's representing? Who's the lawyer for him? 'Cause I don't have nobody.
It's, Your Honor, it's ADA Hiles for the state.
Your Honor, what position is this? Is this 12?
It says Attorney Noble's on the calendar. Let me just double check.
Give me 1 second. I'll give him a call.
Miss. Hi guys, I have the most horrible flu. Let's keep it going. Nobles. Okay, how about Terrion Blanky? Terrion Blanky.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here for Mr. Blanky.
Let's see if Mr. Blanky's in there. Mr. Blanky. Wave your hand if you're Mr. Blanky. So is this person, are you now?
Your Honor, Carl may have to switch him out. I'm not sure.
Okay, Joseph Taylor. Are you Joseph? Is that Joseph Taylor, Cobb? Okay, we don't have, all right, stand by, everybody. Sorry, I really feel like crap. Terrion Blanky, if you're there, wave your hand. No. Dravion Richard.
He is also in Cobb, Your Honor.
Nobody. Dravion Richard. Is that who it is? Have him wave his hand if he's Dravion Richard, because you're on mute. Okay, can't. Okay. Can you try Carlos, Miss Claudia?
Yes, Your Honor. Carlos Torres Almendares.
Then to wave his hand.
Por favor, suba su mano para que sepamos que es usted. Carlos Torres Almendares.
Your Honor,
¿Dónde está?
Yes, ma'am. Who's saying? Who's saying?
Carlos Torres Almendares, suba la mano.
All right, let's go to Amber Brake. Amber Brake. Okay. Yolanda Randolph. She good. Shalaka Young. Jermika Hickson. Jermika Hickson. There we go. Alpharetta Jail, is that Jermika? Mr. Tess here, you here?
Your Honor, may I interrupt just a minute?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Cobb County's got those inmates in the holding cell. They're standing by to these 3 that we have in there right now is done, and then she's going to exchange them out with the other 3.
Okay, we just don't have the lawyers here. Mr. Tessier, are you here?
Your Honor, Mr. Tessier is on his way back to the office from the jail. I just spoke with him.
Okay, Jorge Armando Munoz Viviano. Go ahead, try that. Is that I got it
Jorge Armando Muñoz Viviano. ¿Quién
Perfect.
es?
Mr.
Oh,
Cho here.
Which one?
Maybe I should call lawyers first. Mr. Cho here.
¿El abogado Cho está aquí?
I'll give him a call, Your Honor.
Le voy a llamar, su señoría. ¿Quién
All right.
es Armando Jorge Muñoz?
Is Nelson
Okay.
Rhodes here? Mr. Rhodes. Miss Correa, I know you're here.
I am here, Your Honor. I am prepared for Mr. Norris.
Let's see. Here's Trey Newman. How about that? Trey Newman, wave your hand. Boom. Now we're cooking with gas.
There we go.
Sorry, everybody. I really feel like crap. All right. I really feel like crap. Position 122 CP 211288. Trey Newman, 167 days without indictment. Possession of a firearm or a knife during the commission or attempt to commit certain felonies. Aggravated assault with intent to rob. $25,000 bond as of August the 8th. Pre-trial.
In regards to Terry Newman, he's currently on first offender probation for robbery, 2 counts aggravated assault with the intent to rob, 2 counts firearm during financial ID fraud, computer theft, and theft by taking 4 counts. Sentence in 2019, 3 years confinement, 7 years probation, nothing further.
Go ahead, Ms. Correa.
Yes, Your Honor. So Mr. Newman has been in custody since his first appearance 167 days ago. This is his first court appearance since then. At this time, since his arrest, Mr. Newman has now turned 23 years old. He did have a birthday in the jail. He does have family in Georgia. I have spoken with one of his brothers, but he does have several siblings in his mother here. I'm just confirming that his address on Odyssey is a good address for him. That is where he lives with one of his brothers. He was gainfully employed at West Rock Warehouse as a corrugator operator. So this is an industrial manufacturing facility. And his first child is due sometime this month. So on behalf of Mr. Newman, I am asking Your Honor to consider reducing his bond in half so that way he may have the opportunity to meet his new baby. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, what says the state?
Really briefly, Your Honor, based on the allegations, officers did see a firearm located near the defendant, as well as pretrial has stated, his criminal history with the first offender probation. He's still active on that for the armed robbery and the aggravated assault. So, being that there are similar charges to state, it's unfair that he is in danger to the community as well as at risk of committing new felonies. So, we would just ask that bond remains the same.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapon, no further contact with Tajuan, Tajuan. All right, everybody, you gotta stay, if you're not on mute, please stay on mute, okay? Tajuan Williams, where's he gonna live, Miss Correa? I have he's gonna live in Lithonia on,
That is correct, Your Honor. He
right.
will be residing in Lithonia.
all right, he can stay out of Fulton County. Sir, the only reason you come back to Fulton County is court or to see your lawyer. Don't get gas in Fulton County. When you come here to court, don't stop and get lunch. Leave Fulton County from the courthouse. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical, and employment. That also includes looking for a job. However, you have to notify the ankle monitoring company, your lawyer, who will notify the state your schedule, the exact location you'll be working, proof of employment, and your schedule. That has to be done continuously. 7,000 and 10,000, $17,000 good bond. That was easy math. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Leave the booth. All right. Do we have Ms. Safarazzi?
Judge, I'm covering for Miss Safarasi on Robert Jackson.
All right. Robert Jackson. Thank you, sir. All right. He's got a couple of cases here. So he's got 22 CP 212244 Robert Jackson, 132 days without indictment, no bond as of September the 12th. VGCSA possession of Schedule 1 or 2, VGSA possession of Schedule 1 or 2, possession of firearm by a convicted felon. And I've got 22 CP 207583, 132 days without indictment. He happens to have a $32,000 good bond on this. Possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, possession of MDMA with intent to distribute, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, pedestrian in roadway, possession of dangerous drugs, and possession of use of drug-related objects. And that was Miss Bassett. So are you also going to handle that one?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So this one he had a bond. Did AAA come off of that bond?
Not to my knowledge, Judge, but I may have missed something in the system. I think that that's still intact.
So Mr. Jackson, just give me a thumbs up. Did they come off of your bond or a thumbs down? Mr. Jackson, did AAA bonding come off of your bond? Thumbs up or thumbs down? They
I
did
think
come
that's
off
a
of it?
thumbs up. Yes,
Okay.
so we'll have bond hearings on both then, Judge. I'm
Okay.
ready.
All right, go ahead.
Or did we want to hear from pretrial first,
Oh,
Your
yeah,
Honor?
yeah, excuse me. Pre-trial, sorry, I'm medicated and feeling like crap. Pre-trial.
Judge, in regards to Robert Jackson,
Yes, ma'am.
multi-state offender, 22 in Georgia, 7 in Alabama, 3 arrests for probation violation, multiple felonies, at least 4 in Georgia, 3 in Alabama. The 4 in Georgia are for controlled substance. Also, the 3 in Alabama are for controlled substance. Marijuana with the intent to distribute, cocaine with the intent to distribute. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Rosenhuber.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson is 52 years old. The address on file is a good address for him. He's resided there for the past 7 years. He has 5-year-old twins as well as 3 adult children. He's been here in Georgia for the past 20 plus years. He graduated high school in Alabama and he's been self-employed. Judge, we're asking at this time for a bond not to exceed $15,000. Most of his criminal history involves drugs, and he has completed RSAT and was working through the aftercare program. So he'd like to be able to get a bond and return to that program and return to getting treatment for that. Thank you.
So I've got Lucky Street and an Etheridge Drive. Sir, are you going to live on Lucky Street?
That's
Okay,
the one I
gotcha.
have.
All right, yeah, since I had 2. What says the state?
Judge, on both cases, it does seem that defense counsel is right and Mr. Jackson continues to be self-employed by selling drugs. And so with that, Judge, we asked for 30,000 on the first case to ending in 2244. And we just would also ask for 30,000 on the second case, ending in 583 with a UJR on the pedestrian and roadway, possession of drug-related objects, and possession of dangerous drugs. So 30 on both cases.
Okay. So on 2244, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 400 Fulton Street Southwest. You're gonna have an ankle monitor, sir, paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. You can leave for court, lawyer, medical, and also for employment. Name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. You have to let the ankle monitoring company know and your lawyer where you're going to be. I'll go with 10,000 on each. That's 30,000 total on that case. On the next case, before it was 32,000. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 15 Wall Street. Still going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical, and employment. But you have to proof of employment, name of employer, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. Tell the ankle monitoring company and tell your attorney so they can tell the state. So I'll do 10,000, 10,000, and then pedestrian and roadway, UJR through dangerous drugs, and UJR of drug-related objects. Those three UJRs are through the jail. So that's a total of 30,000 on that. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Let's see now. All right, Mr. Cho, let's see, go back. We gotta get some of these other people out of here. Where was the Joseph Taylor? Did you come back? Joseph Taylor, wave your hand. There you go, Miss Gowdy. You think you can do it again just as good?
I'm sorry, Judge Bennett, but I think there's a possession of firearm by convicted felon.
There's a who?
3, 4. He had 4 charges on position 583.
I think she's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, stand by. Sorry. Okay, make that 40 then, because you got 10 on each. Yeah, possession of firearm by a convicted felon. Yeah, so 10, 10, 10, and the last 3 are UJR. Thank you so much. 40,000. Sorry about that. Thank you. I don't feel well at all. All right, Miss Gowdy, you ready? Joseph Taylor, 21 CP 202174, 526 days without indictment. $20,000 good bond as of August the 11th for possession of firearm during the commission of a felony and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Pre-trial.
What number is Mr. Taylor?
That's one. Joseph Taylor. It was Miss Gowdy's, the one we did before.
Yeah, I think she announced.
Only prior arrest.
There you go. I just wanted him to hear it, though. Go ahead, Miss Gowdy.
Yes, Judge. Before the court is Mr. Taylor. He's 31 years old. As the court is aware, he's been in custody for 526 days, Your Honor, without indictment. We had the preliminary hearing back in August of 2022, Your Honor. Officer was present. Both charges were bound over the grand jury. And here we are 5 months later, Your Honor, there's still been no indictment. I simply bring this case to the court's attention, not because he's able to pay this bond or any other bond, Your Honor, but simply to keep him in the queue, to keep bringing it to the court's attention, Your Honor. If I don't, he'll just continue to languish in custody, Your Honor, without an indictment. If released on bond, he does have a good address. It's not in Fulton County. It's actually outside of the state of Georgia and the state of Florida. The address is 2768 Cactus Drive. That's in Orange Park, Georgia, zip code 32065. So several miles away from the listed victim, Your Honor. At the time of this incident, Mr. Taylor unfortunately was homeless. I believe that the also listed victim was also homeless as well, Your Honor. And as such, no means of actually contacting the victim, knowing his address, his phone number, contacting his family or friends or loved ones to intimidate him. I didn't hear a history of parole or FTAs or probation being violated or any sort like that. So I have no concerns about Mr. Taylor returning to court, Your Honor. Bond currently is $20,000, 15 on the aggravated assault, 5,000 on the possession of a firearm and or knife. In this case, it was alleged that Mr. Taylor used a pocket knife. So as it relates to bond, we're asking for a bond to be set as follows: not anything exceeding 5,000 on the aggravated assault, and really nothing exceeding $2,500 on the possession of a firearm and or knife, Your Honor. Thank you.
6 North, booth 3. Here's the rules. Stay in your seat. Don't get up. Get up and you leave the booth. You get continued. You'll get left out for today and get reset to a couple more weeks down the road. Go ahead. What says the state on Joseph Taylor?
Judge, on this particular case, we are cognizant that he's been in jail for a while, so we would just leave it in the court's discretion.
No, that's not how we do this.
Okay, Judge, well, in that case, I will ask that bond stay the same. We do believe that bond is reasonable. We have not been able to get in contact with Mr. Brown, as the defense counsel said. We believe he is homeless. We've attempted to do a victim locate. Based on the allegations, they are dangerous nature. In addition to Mr. Taylor having a Florida address, we're not certain that he would return. And so we would just ask that bond remain the same.
So if I give him a bond, you want me to tell him not to leave the state of Georgia?
I'm
See,
sorry,
this
Judge.
this is how it works. Mr. Cho, Ms. Lugo over here. If we go down on first on 5, only on 2, live at 11, we all go down together. This is a team effort here. We get these people out here. Do you want him to leave the state of Georgia, stay in the state of Georgia? Which one you want? Everybody's got skin in the game.
I mean, Judge, we would ask that he stay. Just we can just exile him from Fulton County. It does say would believe that would suffice.
All right, 526 days. Ms. Gowdy, I'm going to start sending emails to Ms. Willis. 526 days, no indictment.
I have a list prepared, Your Honor.
Okay, well, be glad to send it to me, and I'll send it myself to Miss Willis and let her know the folks that came in front of me. I mean, this is just crazy. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from Woodruff Park, sir, and all other parks in the city of Atlanta. Every single park, even that little bitty one on Monroe. It's at what? Piedmont and Monroe. It looks like it's a little island, but they call it a park. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You can have a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, and medical. You have to provide your address if that's not going to be upon release. You have to provide the name of your employer, where you're working, and your schedule. And proof of employment. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with that 24-hour curfew. It works even though you're going to live in Florida. Stay out of Fulton County, sir. You're going to come back for a court and to see your lawyer. Stay out of the state of Georgia. The only reason you to come back to the state of Georgia is to go to court. That means when you get to Jacksonville or somewhere near the line, you fill up with gas. Go real slow, get the best gas mileage, get to Atlanta, go to court. I will allow you to stop and fill up with gas. You cannot go more than 1 mile off the interstate to fill up with gas and then get back to Florida. I'm reducing it to, let's see, 5 and 7, 5,000 and 7,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right, let's see, Mr. Cho. What about Jorge Armando Muñez Viviano? Wasn't that one here? Jorge?
Jorge
Mr. Cho.
Muñoz Viviano.
Armando Muñoz Viviano.
All right, this is position 1 pretrial. We got Madam Interpreter.
Tenemos la posición número 1.
22 CP 212887.
Es la causa 212 P212887.
All right, Jorge Armando Muñez Viviano. I know I made that sound really bad, Miss Claudia.
It sounds good. Jorge Armando Muñoz Viviano.
All right, 109 days without indictment.
109 días sin acusársele formalmente.
He has no bond as of January the 13th.
No tiene fianza a partir del 13 de enero.
They make sure the one. Okay, so there was one count. There were 6 counts at first, and now there's only 5. Aggravated assault.
Habían 6 cargos en un principio y ahora nada más hay 5. ¿Es agresión con agravantes?
Battery, family violence, subsequent conviction.
Es agresión física por violencia familiar subsecuente a una condena.
Theft by taking, misdemeanor.
Por haber hurto de algo que
criminal trespass.
Que se llevó. Y por haber entrado en propiedad privada sin autorización, o sea, escalamiento.
And aggravated stalking.
Y por acecho con agravantes.
All right, you ready, Miss Claudia? Miss Chavez does it. You ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Trial. Let's hear it, Miss Claudia.
Antecedentes penales, the pre-trial.
You know, like a soccer announcement. Pre-trial.
Pre-trial.
Go ahead, pre-trial.
Entonces digan los antecedentes penales.
But in regards to Mr. Bibliano, you arrest the issue at hand. He just had his preliminary hearing. I think it was last week, Mr. Cho. The ag stalking, I think, was added due to the fact he has 2 open cases, same victim. He was told to stay away, 21 CR 0057110J, 21 CR 00784J, battery family violence, and a simple assault family violence. Same victim, Eris Beth Castro. And I think
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You forgot about Miss Claudia Bostic.
Ok. Al parecer él ya tuvo su audiencia preliminar hace unos días y como sabía el señor Cho, el abogado tiene 2 casos que están abiertos todavía, 21CR005710 y 21CR007887 por agresión física y violencia familiar, y que es la misma víctima que se mantenga lejos de Erisbeth. What was the name of the victim? Erisbeth
Erisbeth Castro.
Castro.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Cho. Don't forget about Miss Claudia.
Y
Thank you, Your
el
Honor.
licenciado Cho, no se olvide de Claudia y dígame. Gracias, su señoría.
Judge, we had Officer Bostic's right. We did have a prelim recently.
Sí, tuvimos la audiencia preliminar de causa fundamentada recientemente.
And the result was a little disappointing for us in court that day.
Fue algo decepcionante en la corte ese día,
But nonetheless, Judge, Mr. Bibiano does qualify for a bond at this point.
sin embargo, el señor Viviano, él reúne los requisitos para obtener fianza el día de hoy.
Acknowledging the open cases that Officer Bostic read out.
Aún a sabiendas de los casos que se indicaron por los servicios de antecedentes.
Mr. Bibiano has family who loves him, including his brother.
El señor Viviano tiene familiares que lo aman, incluyendo a su hermano.
And I have spoken with the family to the best of my ability.
Y yo he hablado con la familia lo mejor que he podido.
Mr. Bibiano has been a hardworking member of this society in America, having lived here for the last 19 years.
El señor Viviano ha sido muy trabajador en el tiempo que ha vivido en los Estados Unidos por los últimos 19 años.
And he is a father. He has daughters who are young, I believe 2, and a son as well.
Él es padre de 2 pequeños y también 2 niñas, y también tiene un hijo.
His son is in college currently in America.
Su hijo está en la universidad actualmente en los Estados Unidos.
So he does have ties to the community, and Judge, his ties include his family, his young children, who he does care about very deeply.
Y estos vínculos con la comunidad incluyen a sus familiares, entre los cuales están sus hijos pequeños.
Judge, Mr. Bibiano I'll say it like this, I believe Mr. Bibiano will not have any difficulty staying away from Ms. Castro.
Diría yo que el señor Viviano no va a tener dificultad en mantenerse alejado de la señora Castro.
I believe that she is in Mexico or in Pennsylvania is the last I heard, either of those.
Me parece que ella, por lo último que oí, está o en México o en Pensilvania.
And Judge, I would ask the court to consider if there has been any victim contact in this case.
Y yo le pediría a la juez que considerara que no, este caso, su señoría, para que pueda salir, ya que no va a tener contacto con la víctima.
And Judge, finally, Mr. Bibiano wanted me to emphasize that he was never actually inside the home in this allegation in this case.
Y el señor Bibiano quería que yo rotundamente indicara que él no estuvo dentro de la casa durante lo que se está insinuando en el caso.
So, Judge, long and short, we would ask the court to consider a reasonable bond in this case, emphasizing to the court, Mr. Bibiano has been in custody over the statutory period and that he is definitely indigent.
Y en pocas palabras, le pedimos que por favor le asigne una fianza, le otorgue una fianza razonable, y él ha estado más tiempo en custodia de lo que se permite por ley sin haber obtenido una fianza. Y actualmente él se encuentra bajo el nivel de la pobreza, es indigente. Así que se tome eso en cuenta.
Nothing further, thank you.
No tengo nada más, gracias.
Mr. Cho, is he a citizen? Do you know?
Señor Cho, ¿él es ciudadano, sabe usted?
No, not to the best. My understanding is that it's a no.
Mejor saber entender, lo que sé es que no.
What says the state?
¿Qué dice la fiscalía?
Judge, this defendant has shown to be a repeat danger to the victim.
Su señoría, este acusado ha mostrado que repetidamente ha tratado de causarle daño a la víctima.
Knowing that there were 2 prior cases of violence against the same victim, the defendant still returned to the victim's home.
Aún sabiendo que habían 2 casos anteriores en contra de la víctima, regresó a la casa de ella.
The allegations are that he grabbed her throat and covered her mouth, and officers did find him at the victim's home.
Los alegatos fueron que la agarró y le puso la mano sobre la boca, y ahí lo encontró la policía.
Judge, the state has had contact with the victim, whose main concern was that the defendant does help their son with college financially.
I'm sorry, the interpreter couldn't hear well.
The state has had contact with the victim. One of her concerns was that the father, the defendant, does help their son with college financially.
Okay. La fiscalía habló con la víctima, y la víctima indicó que el padre ayuda al hijo con la universidad, y eso es algo que le preocupa a ella, que él no pueda hacer.
And we would ask for the following breakdown of a bond, a good bond.
Y estamos pidiendo, en cuanto a la fianza, que se divida de esta manera.
$50,000 for the aggravated assault.
$50,000 por el de agresión con agravantes.
$25,000 for the battery, family violence.
25,000 por el de agresión física, violencia familiar.
A UJR on the theft by taking.
El que pueda salir bajo palabra, bajo supervisión, por por hurto.
10,000 on the criminal trespass.
10,000 por el escalamiento.
30,000 on the aggravated stalking, for a total of 115,000.
30,000 por agresión, acecho con agravantes, por un total de $115,000.
And Judge, the state also has concerns of substance abuse. The defendant does have a 2017 DUI conviction, as well as other charges related to drug-related objects.
También le preocupa a la fiscalía que él tenga adicción de sustancias, ya que en el 2017 hubo un cargo en contra de él por manejar bajo los efectos del alcohol, y pudiera tener alguna adicción de otras drogas.
And it's
All
all.
Thank you. Okay, I don't know that I could order him to pay for college. I'm more concerned about her safety than him paying for college.
No creo que yo pueda dejarlo en libertad para que él pueda pagar la universidad. Eso no es lo que me preocupa en gran parte, sino que la seguridad de la víctima.
No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons.
No drogas a menos que sean recetadas, no armas.
Stay away from 540 King Arnold in Hapeville, Georgia.
Y mantenerse lejos de la 540 King Arnold en Hapeville, en Georgia.
No further contact with Erisbeth Hernandez Castro.
Y que no tenga ningún contacto con Erisbeth Hernández Castro.
You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew.
Que se le ponga un grillete electrónico en el tobillo de supervisión de 24 horas y que tenga un toque de queda.
He can leave for court, medical, or to see his lawyer.
Él nada más puede salir para ir a la corte, para cuestiones médicas o para ver a su abogado.
He has to provide an address to the jail and the clerk's office upon release.
Al salir tiene que proporcionar una dirección donde se va a quedar a la cárcel y también a la oficina de actas en el clerk's office.
But it's not going to be in Fulton County. Stay out of Fulton County.
No puede estar en el condado de Fulton, tiene que estar fuera del condado de Fulton.
Only reason he can come to Fulton County is court and to see his lawyer.
Solamente puede venir al juzgado en el condado de Fulton o para ver a su abogado.
And he's going to have to find a place to live. He can't leave the state of Georgia, though. So he's going to have to find a place to live in the state of Georgia.
Tiene que encontrar un lugar donde vivir en el estado de Georgia, porque además no puede salir del estado de Georgia.
If he's got a passport, he needs to turn it over to his lawyer.
Si
Sorry,
tiene un
Mr. Chair.
pasaporte, tiene que entregárselo a su abogado.
All right. 50,000 count one.
50,000 en el cargo 1,
25,000 count two.
25,000 en el cargo 2,
UJR through the jail count three.
en el cargo 3 bajo palabra por supervisión previo a un juicio, en el cargo 3,
20,000 count four.
20,000 en el cargo 4
And 40,000 for count five. Aggravated stalking.
y 40,000 por el de acecho con agravantes.
And Miss Patricia, tell him he violates this bond condition. I will see for myself that he sits in jail until his trial, period.
Usted quebranta estas condiciones, señor, y yo personalmente, dice la juez, me encargaré que usted se quede esperando en la cárcel.
He can leave the booth.
Ya puede salirse de ahí de la celda donde está. And Your Honor, this was Claudia. I know you said Patricia,
yeah,
but
it is Claudia. I'm sorry, Miss.
it's okay. But it's okay. I just wanted to correct the record.
Yes, ma'am. It's Claudia. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tremaine Mosley, are you there? All right, we got Mr. Nobles here. You ready, Mr. Nobles?
Your Honor may be excused.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. That's the only case you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. I got 22 CP 207477. It's 13 Bostic, 311 days without indictment, aggravated assault. Pre-trial, there's a $50,000 good bond as of August the 18th. Pre-trial.
Tremaine Mosley, 25 prior arrests, at least 4 felony convictions, aggravated assault, 3 counts, firearm, doing firearm by on probation. Sentence 11/5/18, 2 years confinement, 8 years probation, 18 SC 160447. 3 misdemeanors, 1 arrest for parole violation, 1 for probation violation, prior conviction for battery, family violence, 1 FTA, 1 fugitive from justice arrest, prior convictions also for robbery and excuse me, controlled substance. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Nobles.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Mosley is 36 years old. He's resided here in Georgia for his whole entire life. His whole family is here. He has extensive ties to this area. Upon release, he does intend to reside at 145 Gennety Drive. That's in Douglasville. He is a father of 4, ages 6, 12, 17, and 21. And he was working on his degree before his arrest. We're asking the court to consider reducing his bond. It's been 311 days that he has been in custody. His case has still yet not been indicted. Prior to his arrest, he was employed as a mechanic working at DW Auto. He does believe he can return back to that job upon his release. As to the complaining witness in this case, Mr. Mosley does not personally know where to locate or how to contact that person. I'll put it forward to you, he would not be a risk to intimidate or influence any witness if Your Honor was to reduce his bond. So we're asking for reduction to a reasonable amount of bond that he could possibly make. It's set currently at $60,000. We ask the court to reduce that to $30,000.
What says the state?
And this is position 13, Jermaine Mosley.
Uh-huh.
I believe the victim wants to speak. Co-counsel has informed me that. Ms. Demetria Kendrick, if she's on the Zoom.
Kendrick, are you on Zoom?
Okay, well, moving forward, Judge, though, we thought she did want to speak, but we would just ask that bond remains the same. It's my understanding that she was shot in the foot and did sustain an injury where she did need medical treatment. Also, his pretrial is echoed. He does have 25 cycles on his criminal history. We would just ask that the bond remain the same and just ask for no weapons and stay away from the victim.
All right, that's the
Just so the court's aware, I guess Ms. Kendrick is having trouble getting into the Zoom, but she does oppose bond.
Okay. Have you explained to her that he has bond and he's entitled to a bond, right? Because he's been in 311 days.
I did not speak with her. I think our victim advocate did, and we can certainly explain that to her when court is done.
Okay. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're going to live in Douglasville, so you can stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. No other reason. Fill up a gas in Douglas County, come straight out I-20, go up 75 and leave the same way. You can fill up a gas in Douglas County. You won't even need to get gas to leave. Going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment as long as you supply proof of employment, name of your employer, schedule, and the exact location you're going to be working. Stay away from 31 Peachtree Street, which you should be fine with since you're going to stay out of Fulton County. No further contact with Demetria, Demetria Kendrick, Kendrick. Ankle monitor is going to be paid for by the county, by the Orca Project. $30,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. If you violate the bond, have contact with it, you'll sit in Rice Street till your trial. You can leave the booth. Is Kidabrew here? No, Kidabrew. Let's see. What about Dravion Richard? Raise your hand if you're Dravion Richard. Okay. Let's see. What about Carlos Torres Almendarez?
Carlos Torres Almendarez.
All right, let's see. Amber Brake. All right, let's see. Yolanda Randolph.
I think those were.
I just want to let you know that Turk is on. She said her internet went out, just so you know.
She's going to get them as well, Your Honor.
All right. Jamaica Hickson. Let's see. How about Gary Hunt? Gary Hunt. Wave your hand
Judge Jamaica Hickson's raising his hand.
I don't see anybody raising their hand. Jamaica Hickson.
The judge is the one that says Alpharetta Jail.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, here we go, Mr. Tessier. 22 CP 209627. 230 days without indictment. Jamaica Hickson. $22,000 good bond as of September the 28th. Aggravated assault, obstruction of a law enforcement officer, giving false information to a law enforcement officer. Trial. Bostic, you're on mute.
56 prior arrests across 4 states, 40 in Georgia. 14, I believe, I guess I put South Carolina twice. I think that one is North Carolina, 2 in Alabama, 5 in South Carolina, 14 arrests for probation violation and 5 felony convictions, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Tessier.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Hickson is 51 years old. He's been in Georgia for the last 3 years. He has completed the 11th grade. From what I understand in the pretrial report, I understand he's got no open cases pending. Even with all those cycles that were mentioned, he doesn't have 2 or more FTAs. So regardless of the number of cycles, he does show up for court, Judge. And from what I see in the pretrial report, he has not been convicted of 2 or more violent offenses in the last 10 years. As you mentioned, Judge, he's been in custody 230 days. And he did have a preliminary hearing 113 days ago. We still don't have an indictment, Judge. Currently, right now, our social worker is trying to get him into a program. Only problem is, Judge, when there's such a high bond and we get them into a program, they lose their space because they can't bond out. He does have 2 sisters here in Georgia, one of which is a program director of New Horizons, which is a program that helps with addiction and housing out in Columbus. So after he completes a program that we would get him into, Judge, he would transition into that program in Columbus as well. The only problem is the bond currently right now is way too high. He's not able to make it. He's extremely indigent, Judge, and that's way too high for the bail project to provide any assistance. So we are requesting, Judge, that you cut that bond in half, bring it down to $10,000. So that way we can begin to try to get him through the bail project. So that way, when the program does send us that letter, he can go straight in there and doesn't have to risk losing his spot in that program, which is much needed, Judge.
All right. What's his address? Where's he gonna live?
For the program?
Well, will the program be in Fulton County?
Yeah, the program will be in Fulton County. Currently, he's residentially challenged, Judge. That's why we're trying to get him into that program. I don't want to provide an official address until we get that acceptance letter. I'm pretty sure we're really close to getting to that point. That's why I'm glad we were able to have the bond hearing before he's accepted, because we've often lost people's places and programs because they couldn't bond out.
Okay. So he'll need to supply an address though if he doesn't get into that program, correct?
Yes, Judge, we can.
All right, thank you. What says the state?
Your Honor, the state vehemently opposes any modification to bond at this time, given the severity of the offense. The allegations in the warrant are really egregious. He's accused of beating a man over the head with a 2x4, causing a brain contusion and skull fracture. So at this time, the state's position is that bond is more than fair and reasonable given what is being alleged. I'm also seeing in Mr. Hickson's history 6 convictions for misdemeanor assault and battery charges over the course of his criminal history. So in order to deter him from further committing any more violent offenses, the state recommends that bond remain as set.
All right, any contact with the victim? Well, I know your victim advocate's on here.
I personally have not spoken with the victim. I believe both of these individuals might have been residentially challenged.
Okay.
At the time of the
Yeah,
event.
I wasn't able to get a number for them. I'm not sure, but I think they might be homeless, because I looked and saw that one of the supervisors in the investigator unit wasn't able to put a number in after a victim locate.
Okay.
Yeah, Judge, the cop testified to such at the preliminary hearing that both are residentially challenged.
Okay. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Anthony Smith. You must provide an address to the jail in the clerk's office upon release. Stay away from 610 Spring Street Northwest. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the curfew with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical, and participating in any program that Mr. Tessier gets you into, sir. And you have to provide that in writing. So as long as you let the ankle monitoring company know what you have to participate in, then you can actually leave, but you have to let them know exactly what you're going to be doing. What was that? 230 days. All right. 10,500 and 500. 10,500 and 500.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave.
Judge, that completes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Let's see. Is Terrian Blanky in the booth? Wave your hand if you're Terrian Blanky. There we go. All right. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Thank you. It's position 722 CP 208 985, 253 days without indictment. There is a $4,000 good bond as of July the 7th, 2022 for robbery by sudden snatching, 253 days. Free trial.
Multi-state offender, two in Kansas, one in Missouri. Those cases appear to be open. They're recent. A burglary in 21 in Kansas and an assault in 2020 for those. And what is that? Missouri. Nothing further.
All right. Ms. Kennebrew, where's he going to be living?
Your Honor, Mr. Blanky is going to be living, if you allow him, he'll be living at 1204 Middle Cove Drive in Plano, Texas, 75023. That is with his aunt, Miss Crystal Weatherspoon. I spoke with her at great lengths yesterday. She said that she would love for him to come and stay with her. She understands that it's in a different state. However, she can actually keep him on the right path. If he is unable to reside in Plano, Texas, I have been working with our social worker to get him into the Covenant House because prior to being arrested, he was working at AC Hotels as well as Chipotle. He is 21 years of age, Your Honor. We're asking for the bond to be reduced to nothing more than $2,000. If he is unable to go through the bail project, his aunt would actually be able to post that, but she's unable to post the $4,000 bond.
Ms. Kennebrew, I recommend that to my child support people. They give a sign-on bonus for working there. Chipotle does. It's like $4,000. I'm impressed. All right, what says the state?
Your Honor, given the lack of ties to the community, the state recommends that bond remain as said at $4,000 with the same conditions.
All right, 253 days. No further contact with April Jules, Jules. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 30 Alabama Street and all MARTA stations. You must provide an address where you're going to be living upon release, so to the jail. So if you're going to live where you're going to live, you got to give it there. You're going to have that ankle monitor paid for by the Orca Project with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment, but you have to supply the name of your employer and the location, proof of employment, and your schedule to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer so it can be provided to the state. And if you have to fly in because you decide you're going to move somewhere else, you better take a lift because you can't get on MARTA to get to the courthouse. All right, $3,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right, let's see. How about Miss Claudia? Okay, for the record, you swear affirm you'll translate from English to Spanish, Spanish to English to the best of your knowledge, skills, and abilities. Sorry.
I do, and I did. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, let's see if this is Mario. Can you read that other name, Mario?
Yeah, Mario Palacio, or Mario Echeverría Palacio. Mario Echeverría Palacio.
He looks like he's in 4 North Booth 1.
Okay, let's try to get this done so that. All right, let's see. Where's Miss Sessions? Who's handling this? Because it was Mr. Lang's.
Este era el caso del señor Lanes, el abogado.
Your Honor, are you looking for Mr. Stephen Lane?
No, I'm not. Somebody else is handling this.
No, alguien más.
Kamala
No,
Sessions. All right, sorry, Miss
Yes,
Chloe.
Good morning, good afternoon. Your Honor.
Okay, you ready? All right, so don't forget, Ms. Sessions, I have read every single warrant. I have read everything. I don't need a recitation of the facts, I promise. Okay?
Kamala Sessions es la abogada que está manejando este caso. La juez dice, yo he leído todo al respecto, todas las órdenes de arresto, no tiene que recitar todo.
All right, Miss Claudia, Miss Claudia, I'm gonna let you say his name, okay, when I get to that part. 22212, 22 CP 212006. Mario, go ahead.
Mario Echeverría Palacio es la causa 212CP212006.
140 days without indictment, trafficking in illegal drugs, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
Lleva 140 días sin haberse emitido una acusación formal y los cargos es por narcotráfico de drogas ilícitas, por tener en posesión un arma de fuego o un arma al momento de cometer un delito.
Another trafficking in illegal drugs and misdemeanor obstruction.
Y narcotráfico de drogas ilícitas y por haber obstruido la labor de un agente del orden público.
All right, Bostic, don't forget about Miss Claudia. You ready, Miss Claudia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ready? Okay, soccer announcer, let's go. You ready? Pre-trial.
Pre-trial. Estamos en los antecedentes penales.
2 prior arrests, 2014 DUI and FTA in 2016. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Miss Sessions.
Okay. Tiene 2 arrestos antes, uno por manejar bajo los efectos y en el 2016 por no haber comparecido en corte cuando debía haber ido. Señorita Sessions.
Okay. Good evening, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Echeverria, is 39 years old. He has 3 U.S. citizens.
Wait for Miss Claudia.
Gracias, su señoría. El señor Echeverría tiene 39 años de edad.
He has 3 U.S. citizen children, Your Honor.
Tiene 3 hijos que son ciudadanos de los Estados Unidos, su señoría.
And this is his first felony arrest.
Y este es su primer arresto por un delito grave.
As I'm sure you're aware, Your Honor, if you read the warrant, he was found in an apartment.
Como tal vez usted ya leyó en las órdenes de arresto, su señoría, él fue encontrado en un apartamento.
My client contends that he was not responsible for the items that were there. That's neither here nor there. But he does have family here in the United States, Your Honor, and he has a place that he would be living at.
Y mi cliente indica que él no sabía de estos artículos que fueron encontrados. Él tiene familia en los Estados Unidos y por lo tanto tiene un lugar donde poder vivir.
He has several brothers that live here in Georgia, and he has a nephew whose name is Antonio Echeverria, who he would live with at 5801 Kingsport Drive, Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm sorry, and what is the address? Antonio Echeverria, and what is the address?
5801 Kingsport Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30342.
Okay. Él tiene varios hermanos, tiene un sobrino que se llama Antonio Echeverría y él puede vivir con él en la dirección de 5801 Kingsport Drive en Atlanta, Georgia, 30342.
One of his family has stated that they have some family work that he would be working with them doing. I don't remember what it's, and I think it might be in construction, but they would have him working with him or him working with them.
Uno de los familiares indicó que él va a tener trabajo con miembros de la familia. No recuerdo exactamente haciendo qué, pero me parece que es trabajo de construcción.
Your Honor, we would ask that the bond be reduced to half based on the fact that this is his first arrest. The one charge that he does have an FTA on.
Hold on 1 second. 7 North, sit down. You get up one more time, your case is going to be continued. Keep running your mouth and your case will be continued. I don't care who's knocking. Go ahead, Ms. Sessions.
Okay.
Su señoría, le estamos solicitando que por favor reduzca la fianza a la mitad por el hecho de que este es su primer arresto por un delito grave y la falta de comparecencia se debió a que
Okay, and so we'd like to ask if the bond can be reduced, Your Honor, to half on each of the charges that he has currently. I believe the total bond is 172,500.
y por eso pedimos que se le reduzca la fianza a la mitad por cada uno de los cargos. Me parece que el total de esta suma $172,500.
Ms. Sessions, he's planning on living at the incident location?
Señorita Sessions, licenciada, él está planeando vivir en la ubicación del incidente.
No, so the incident location is in the same complex of where his nephew lives. It's not the same apartment though.
No, el lugar donde sucedió supuestamente el incidente es en el mismo complejo de apartamentos, pero su sobrino, él vive en el mismo complejo, pero en otro apartamento.
So he can live somewhere else?
Así que
Yeah.
puede vivir en otro lado. Sí.
Do you have an address where he'll live?
¿Tiene una dirección donde va a vivir?
I do have another address of another because I did have some letters from some family and friends. And there was a friend, his name is Antonio Garcia, who lives in Douglasville, which is not in the county, but it's at 1675 West High Point Drive, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. I don't know. Did you need me to repeat that a little bit slower?
1675.
1675 West High Point Drive, Douglasville, Georgia.
Sí,
I'm
la otra
not
dirección
completely-
es de un amigo de él, porque sus familiares me enviaron cartas y también recibí, y una de las personas con las que él puede vivir se dijo que es Antonio García, que es un amigo y vive en 1675 West High Point Drive en Douglasville, Georgia.
Okay, what says the state?
¿Qué dice la fiscalía?
Yes, Your Honor. The state recognizes that the defendant has a limited criminal history.
Sí, su señoría, la fiscalía está de acuerdo a que el acusado tiene antecedentes penales que son limitados.
However, I think we're limited in how much we can modify the bond based on the standing bond order related.
Sin embargo, creo que estamos limitados en cuanto podemos reducir la fianza basándose en la orden que tiene que ver con la fianza.
And the bond amount on count one is already, excuse me. The bond amount on count one is already lower than the minimum.
Y la fianza en el cargo número 1 ya es más baja del mínimo que debería de estar.
So accordingly, the state's bond recommendation is as follows.
Por lo tanto, la recomendación de la Fiscalía para la fianza es la siguiente.
On count one, $50,000.
En el cargo 1, $50,000.
On count two, $5,000.
En el cargo 2, $5,000.
Count three, $100,000.
En el cargo 3, $100,000.
And on count four, $1,000.
Y en el cargo 4, $1,000.
For a total of $106,000 with special conditions, no contact with the co-defendant, and possess no drugs or weapons.
Y con las siguientes condiciones, esta sería una fianza de $106,000 con las condiciones de que no tenga ningún contacto con el coacusado y que no pueda tener o poseer ninguna droga o armas.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons.
No drogas a menos que sean recetadas, no alcohol, no armas.
You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew.
Se le va a poner un grillete electrónico monitoreado las 24 horas y va a tener toque de queda.
You can leave for court, see your lawyer or medical attention.
Solamente puede salir para ir a la corte por razones médicas o para ver a su abogado.
Stay out of Fulton County. He can live in Douglasville, so he can stay out of Fulton County unless he's here for court or to see his lawyer.
Tiene que mantenerse lejos del condado de Fulton, va a vivir en Douglasville y nada más puede venir a este condado cuando vaya a corte o a ver a su abogado.
Stay away from 5801 Kingsport Drive.
Y tiene que mantenerse alejado de la dirección de 5801 Kingsport Drive.
If he's got a passport, he needs to provide it to his attorney.
Si usted tiene un pasaporte, tiene que entregárselo a su abogada.
No further contact with his co-defendant.
No puede tener ningún contacto futuro con el coacusado.
Jesus Leon Lucas.
Jesús Leon Lucas.
And he provides his address to the jail, for the address in Douglasville, to the jail and in writing to the clerk's office upon release.
Y tiene usted que proporcionarle a la cárcel o a la oficina de las actas de clerk's office antes de salir sobre dónde es que usted va a vivir, una dirección.
And yeah, there was 473 grams of meth.
Había 473 gramos de metanfetamina.
There was 804 grams of coke.
804 gramos de cocaína.
So I'm going to do 50,000.
Así que voy a dar 50,000.
5,000.
5,000.
And 75,000.
75,000.
And 1,000.
Y 1,000 de montos de fianza.
Best of luck to you, sir. He can leave the booth.
La mejor de
Thank you,
las
Hannah.
suertes, señor. Se puede salir de ahí, de la sala donde está.
Okay. Let's try one more time. Did Mr. Torres, Carlos Torres, ever show up?
El señor Carlos Torres se apareció en algún momento.
All right, let's see. Here we go. What about Jaleel Tucker? Wave your hand if you're Jaleel Tucker. There you go. Who's represent? Okay, got it. All right, ready, Mr. Nobles?
Yes, Judge.
All right, position 12. It's 21 CP 205179. Jaleel Naquise Tucker. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, sir. 401 days without an indictment. You got a $60,000 good bond as of August the 1st, 2022. Possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony, willful obstruction, unlawful for a person employed by or associated with criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity. Right now, there is a $60,000 straight bond, and I don't think this is the one I did, but pre-trial.
Did I already read the history for Tucker, or was it he wasn't here?
Yeah,
Did I
Mr.
miss
Nobles
somebody's history?
Mr. Nobles wasn't here.
Okay. In regards to Tucker, multi-state offender, 9 in Georgia, 19 in Delaware, 3 in California, numerous open cases. 21 SC 177536, theft by receiving stolen property, obstruction, Eaton 22 SC 180382, Schedule 1, cocaine street gang activity, 22 SC 182141, street gang, 3 counts, attempted capital offense, armed robbery, ag with intent with a deadly weapon, 3 counts firearm during 22 SC 182955, street gang activity, 11 plus counts, and capital offense, juvenile arrest, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Nobles.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Tucker is 23 years old. He's lived here in Georgia his whole life. While we did hear some pending allegations, I just want to record these are all allegations. He remains with no felony conviction on his record. I believe that suggests that he's not a great risk to commit felonies if released and not a danger to the community. Also, what I see noted on the pre-trial report, he has no history of failing to appear for court, so I don't believe that he'll be a risk to not appear if released on bond. as these charges, this is simple possession charges, so there's no witnesses or victims here to be worried about a risk of influencing or intimidating. I mean, technically, you could say the officers here are witnesses, but Mr. Tucker has no desire or knowledge on how to contact those officers, and I put forward the risk to those witnesses would be very minimal here. As to the marijuana charge, we're talking about 3 grams of marijuana. He's charged with possession with intent, so not a great amount. He denies selling and maintains that's only for personal usage. There are 4 warrants here on the calendar. I think it's interesting for the court to note he was arrested originally on 3 charges, and this participation in gang activity was added a month later by a different officer. Mr. Tucker maintained that he does not have gang membership or gang affiliation. He's been in custody, as Your Honor mentioned, for 401 days on this bond that is unable to be posted. We asked the court to reduce his bond. It's currently at $60,000. We're asking for a bond in the amount of $20,000.
All right, what says the state?
Your Honor, he's got the 4 open gang cases. The state's been working down all the charges that he was arrested on. It's not like we've been sitting idle on his cases. They're coming up one after another. I think he's got like $600,000 of bond with all his case, or more than that, with all his cases combined. You did set some last year on different charges. However, his gang ties are strong despite what he says. We just asked that the bond remain the same. He is already in front of Judge Eaton on 4 other gang cases. And we just feel that it's appropriate as is.
All right, yeah, I think I'd set it on another one. So this is no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no replicas of weapons. You can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, medical, and lawyer. Where's he going to live, Mr. Nobles?
Yes, the address is going to be 466 Lynn Haven Drive, Southwest Atlanta, 30310.
Okay. He should have no further contact with Markesia, Markecia Bell. No further, and that's a co-defendant. No further contact with DeAnthony, Deanthony Williams. That's also a co-defendant. And no further contact with, let's see, anyone affiliated or known to be affiliated, trying to be affiliated, wanting to be affiliated, any of those good things with YSL, Young Slime Life, sex, money, murder, or any other gang. And also 250, I wouldn't even know how to pronounce this, it's BLO5K Life, Block 5K Life, 250 Block K Life. Stay away from 1660 Jonesboro Road Southeast. It's the Little Bear Food Mart. All right, 4,000, 20,000, 4,000, and 30,000. And that gang is a whole lot lower than I would have made it. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Judge, can you give me those amounts one more time?
4,000, 20,000, 4,000, 30,000. You can leave the booth, sir.
Okay, was it your intention to increase the bond?
I didn't increase it. I reduced 2 of them from 5 to 4.
But
I wanted to increase the gang charge, but somebody else said it for whatever reason, because that definitely wasn't mine. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Let's see. Do we have let's see. I'm trying to find some of these that are back in Cobb now. Do we have Dravion Richard? Dravion Richard, raise your hand. Hold on, let's see.
Looks like booth
He's
3.
in, he's in booth 3.
He's waving his hand, Your Honor.
All right, sorry, I got like 500 blocks on my thing. Thank you.
It's
All right.
Cobb booth 3. Mr. Richard, wave your hand again. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Sorry, I got all these squares on my screen. You ready, Ms. Bray?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank y'all for being patient. I have a horrible flu and I'm running a fever, so I just popped some Tylenol. I'm doing the best I can. All right, 20 CP 192215, Dravion DeEarl Richard, 351 days without indictment. I've got 2 counts of aggravated assault, and there is a $10,000 good bond as of February the 12th. Pre-trial.
What number? Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Dravion Richards. No prior arrest? I have no notes on him.
I'm showing that he has 5 Georgia cycles and 9 Tennessee cycles.
Thank you.
For some reason, I didn't make a note of any convictions, so I don't think he has any felony convictions.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Dravion Richards, I believe he's 32 now. He is an Atlanta resident, has lived here for the last 12 years. Prior to this case, Your Honor, he was in a program called the Atlanta Recovery Center. I spoke to his mom earlier today. She lives in Fort Wayne, Indiana, but she tracked down the people at the Atlanta Recovery Center to see if it's possible that he could potentially go back there, because they also assist with the housing and the medication and counseling and all of that stuff. And that is where he was. And that's where he was doing fine until this happened. I do want the court to know he came in on this case May 29th, 2020. He sat until October 19th, 2020. That's 144 days. Now, something happened with pretrial, and he ended up coming back to jail February 3rd of last year, and he's been in ever since. I added up his days from the 2 states, and it's 495 days that he has in on this case involving the 2 ag assaults. His current bond is $5,000 each for a total of 10. I'm asking Your Honor to reduce the bond in half, because now that I know that Atlanta Recovery Center will possibly take him back, then it would be my desire to go through the bail bond project and get them to post his bond, if I can get it down to 5, and then he go back into the Atlanta Recovery Center. So that's what I'm asking for, a reduction to $2,500 on each count for a total of 5.
What says the state?
The state cannot consent to a reduction in bond in this matter, given the egregiousness of the offenses. Personally, I believe it is incredibly low for what is being alleged. And the allegations are that the defendant cut 2 individuals in the face with a box cutter. So while the state is sensitive to Mr. Richards' position, we cannot at this time consent to a modification.
Okay. And Your Honor, do we have a victim advocate or anyone from the DA's office who can say that they've made contact with the 2 victims? Because I'm thinking they're probably in the same residentially type challenge situation as my own client was on that date. And I just want to know.
Anybody had any contact with the victims? It's like Mr. Eddie Polk and Johnny Duncan.
I personally have not had contact with them. Our victim advocate is on, but I don't think that's relevant to whether or not he should have bond.
Well, I mean, he's got bond, but if it's been over a year and there's been no contact with the victim,
that's a problem.
I looked at the notes, there was a victim locate put in and nothing. And so I'm assuming that, yes, that's correct. These people might be homeless, because if the victim locate was requested, and I remember this because it was over a year, and still, unless somebody didn't look into it, but the victim locators only come from the investigators. So, but I had no access to any numbers.
all right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Johnny, Johnnnie Duncan, and no further contact with Eddie Polk, Polk. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew and participation in that program. So court, lawyer, medical, and participation in the program. Stay away from 2 Park Place and all parks for the city of Atlanta. Well, you can't go to any parks in the state of Atlanta, which means they probably do live there. So I'll reduce it to 3 and 3. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. That ankle monitor has to be put on. You have to give an address to the jail and to the clerk's office to be released. The jail has to have it there that day, and you have to provide it in writing to the clerk's office upon release. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Amber Brake. All right, is Pento's here? Okay, 22 CP 211952, Amber Brake, 142 days without indictment, no bond as of September the 2nd. Aggravated assault, theft by receiving stolen property, felony, driving, fleeing, attempting to elude, reckless driving, failed to yield the right of way of emergency vehicle, unsafe vehicle or equipment, unlawful person employed by, associated with criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity, unlawful for a person to acquire, maintain through criminal street gang activity or proceeds derived from such. Pre-trial.
Amber Brake, multi-state, 1 in Georgia, 5 in North Carolina, 3 arrests, hold in Clayton County, open case in White County for meth, knife during the commission. Nothing further.
Which county did you say? I'm sorry.
White.
Okay. Do you know if there's a hold? No hold. I didn't see any, but
There's a hold.
okay. Go ahead, Ms. Pinto.
Thank you, Judge. As the court stated, Ms. Brake has been incarcerated 142 days. She's had no bond this entire time. The case has not been indicted, and this is her first court date since her arrest. If released, she would live at 801 Athens Street in Hartwell, Georgia. I will ensure that the clerk's office has that address so that she can receive all her court notices. Ms. Brake is not a flight risk. She has strong ties to the community. She would reside with her sister and her father-in-law. And then she also has 3 children. They're currently with their father, but Ms. Brake is the one with custody. So as soon as she's released, her children will be residing with her. They are ages 18, twins, and then a 5-year-old. She works as a personal trainer. She has her own company called Fit Life, which she's been doing for 17 years. So as stated, strong ties to Georgia. Her whole family is in this state. She has lived in Georgia for about 3 years, although she was in the Carolinas for some time. She has no felony convictions, Judge. She's not on probation. There's no risk of committing any felonies pending trial. And there's no risk of intimidating any witnesses. Any witnesses or alleged victims are unknown to Ms. Brake. And she does have, sorry, this is a little out of order, but education-wise, she does have a degree in sports medicine from Penn Foster. She has another degree in sports nutrition, and then she also has a personal trainer accreditation. So she has a life outside of the jail, Judge, that she's eager to return to. She's not a threat or a danger to the community. She has no violent history whatsoever. I understand the way these charges sound, Judge, but they are, of course, just accusations. Ms. Brake does fully intend to return to court and fight this case. And we are asking the court to set a bond and to total no more than $50,000.
All right, what says the state? Mr. Hiles, is yours?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, she's got a hold out of 3 counties for failures to appear. She's got a hold out of Rabun County, White County, and Clayton County. She is a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. Since then, since her original arrest, we've gotten into her laptop, which she had drawn on herself, with a whiteout pen, drawn Aryan Brotherhood symbols, neo-Nazi symbols inside the phones collected in the computer. We found documents, talking about preserving the purity of the Aryan race. And in her phone, she also has the leaders of the Aryan Brotherhood in the local Georgia chapters. She even has them denoted by rank inside the organization, the gang. So we do feel that she is a threat to the community based on those ties specifically. She's also a threat to not return to court based off of her 3 FTAs and outstanding warrants that she has from 3 different counties. She also has out-of-state criminal history. For those reasons, we're going to ask the court set the bond as follows: on the aggravated assault, $50,000; theft by receiving, $50,000; reckless driving, $5,000; fleeing, $50,000; failure to yield, $5,000; unsafe for conditions, $5,000; in each gang charge, $100,000. And I would ask that she have no contact with any of her co-defendants, that she have no association with any known gang members, and specifically any members of the Aryan Brotherhood.
Okay, so like, let me ask you a question. I mean, so I know with like the one before, it was a sect of Young Slum Life and all that. Is this a spinoff of something like the Klan, or is it just that in itself? I don't know.
Yeah, Aryan Brotherhood is its own distinct organization. I mean, they share some of the same principles, I guess.
Okay, so I didn't know, because some of them, have to do like this person.
I get you subsets and whatnot.
Yeah, right. So no subsets I need to be worried about. Okay. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay out of Fulton County, ma'am. The only reason you come back to Fulton County is for court or to see your lawyer. And you can actually fill up the gas when you come down 75 or 85. Go to court, don't run out of gas, don't get a flat tire. You're going to have a ankle monitor with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, and medical. No further contact with Joseph Ziegler, Ziegler, or no further contact with Jennifer, Fitiany. Any contact with the victims that you know of?
Not this go around. The victims were all, the property was stolen in all different counties. We reached out to them, but it's been a while.
Okay, and no further contact with your co-defendants. Let me get their names. Sorry. Sorry, it's a little bit slow here. Oh, come on. Christopher, your co-defendant Christopher, Lomaneck. And Jeffrey Fain, Fain. Speed was pretty high. No driving during the pendency of this case. No further contact with any gang members, any type of gang, especially the Aryan Brotherhood, any affiliates, wannabe gang members, wannabe members of the Aryan Brotherhood. That means, no flying Nazi flags or anything like that. No paraphernalia with gangs, no contact with them. So if you got their phone number, don't be calling them. You need to block them. If by chance someone picks you up on the Raven, White, or Clayton County hold, you're going to have 24 hours instead of 48 to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle, ma'am. $100,000 on the ag assault, $50,000 on the theft by receiving, $50,000 on the fleeing or attempting to elude, $5,000 on reckless driving, failure to yield right away, $5,000, unsafe vehicle equipment, $5,000, $150,000 on each per gang charge, $150,000, $150,000. Best of luck to you, ma'am. You can leave the booth.
Judge, that concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. You need those numbers again: 100, 50, 50, 555, 150, and 150.
Got them, Judge.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. What else do we have in Cobb? What's the one, number one? Who is that? Do we know?
Your Honor, I'm covering for Miss Beckford, so I'm not sure, but I believe that may be Mr. Torres Almendarez.
Señor Torres Almendares,
I saw a little hand wave. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, it's
parece
hard.
que alguien subió la mano.
All right.
Torres Almendares. The one that says Cobb, Your Honor, I believe, put one.
All right, let me pull up his. Really quick.
It's position 9 on the most recent add-on calendar.
Sorry, I just kind of I put them in the stack in the order they're supposed to go. So then I was shuffling them as people weren't there. Let's see. So I know I called it. So hold on. Over here. Come on now. All right, so it's Carlos Torres Almendares.
Es
22
Carlos Torres Almendares.
So it's 22 CP 208-326.
Es el número de causa 212P208326.
So you got 279 days without indictment.
Tiene 279 días sin que se le haya acusado formalmente.
Aggravated assault.
El cargo es por agresión con agravantes.
And a $5,000 good bond as of September the 12th.
Y $5,000 desde el 12 de septiembre para fianza.
Pre-trial.
Pre-trial es los servicios. Los servicios previos son juicio de libertad vigilada van a leer sus antecedentes penales.
Only prior arrest is a traffic offense.
The interpreter couldn't hear, I'm sorry.
She said one prior arrest. Bostic.
Oh.
Only prior arrest is a traffic offense.
One prior arrest is a
Traffic.
Traffic, okay. Un arresto previo por una infracción de tránsito.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Rosedover.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Torres Almendares is 38 years old.
Gracias, su señor. Continúe, licenciada Rosenhover. El señor Torres Almendares tiene 38 años de edad.
He has 3 children and he made it to the 9th grade.
Tiene 3 hijos y él cursó hasta el 9º grado en la escuela.
Though he normally lives in Texas, he did come to Georgia to work.
Aun cuando él reside en Texas, y vino a Georgia a trabajar.
And he does have a good address to stay in Roswell with his stepbrother.
Y tiene una dirección donde puede vivir en Roswell con su hermanastro.
At this time, Bail Project will not grant our request to post his bond.
En estos momentos, el proyecto de bail no le ha otorgado pagar su fianza.
And he does not have anyone to post it for him at this time.
Y él no tiene nadie que la pueda pagar en estos momentos por él.
So we're asking the court to reduce it further. We understand that it's a serious offense, but I'll let you go.
Y nosotros estamos solicitando si puede usted reducírsela más. Entendemos que es un delito grave.
But given the amount of time that he's been in custody pending indictment, we feel that it's appropriate.
Pero consideramos que todo el tiempo que ha pasado esperando a que se le acuse formalmente, es justo que pueda obtener una fianza.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Right. What says the state?
¿Qué dice la fiscalía?
Given the limited criminal history and I guess the relatively innocuous nature of what happened in this case, the state will recommend a bond of $3,000 with the special conditions: no contact, no weapons, and stay away from the incident location.
Bueno, basado en lo que se indicó y sus antecedentes penales y la índole del delito inocuo de esto, estamos pidiendo $3,000 de fianza y con condiciones especiales y que no porte o tenga ningún arma y que se mantenga lejos del lugar donde sucedió el incidente.
I was just reading the other bond order.
Estaba yo leyendo la otra orden de fianza
And it said ICE had not placed a hold on him yet, Ms. Rosenhuber, so I don't know if that's coming or not.
y dice aquí que Inmigración y Aduanas no ha puesto una orden para detenerlo. No sé si eso está actualizado o no, señorita Rosenhuber.
No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons.
No drogas o alcohol, a menos que las drogas sean recetadas. No puede tener o portar armas.
Stay away from 1360 Holcomb Bridge Road.
Tiene que mantenerse alejado de la 1360 Holcomb Bridge Road.
All Chevron gas stations.
Y también lejos de todas las gasolineras Chevron.
No further contact with Gurmeet, Gurmeet, last name Singh, Singh.
Y tiene que mantenerse alejado de Rosing. What was the second name you mentioned, Your Honor?
It's Gurmeet, Gurmeet, last name Singh, Singh.
Okay. Gurmeet, que es Gurmeet, Singh, Zingh. Tiene
No
que
fur-
mantenerse lejos.
No further contact with Craig Eatman, Eatmon.
Y tiene que también no tener ningún contacto con Craig Eatman, Eatmond.
He's got a passport. If he's got a passport, he needs to turn it over to his lawyer.
Si tiene usted un pasaporte, se lo tiene que entregar a su abogada.
Ankle monitor paid for by the Orca Project, 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical.
Tiene usted que, por medio de Orca, le van a poner un grillete electrónico en que tiene toque de queda 24 horas. Únicamente puede salir para cuestiones del tribunal o médicas.
You want him to have work, Ms. Rosenhuber? I don't know if ICE is gonna pick him up.
Quiere que trabaje, licenciada Rosenhuber. Yo no sé si la Inmigración y Aduanas lo va a detener.
Exceptions for work would be great, Judge.
Si puede dar excepciones para que él pueda salir a trabajar, sería magnífico.
Okay, work, proof of employment, name of employer, location and schedule.
Tiene que dar comprobante del empleador, la ubicación y el horario del trabajo.
Has to be turned over to the state and to the lawyer and to the ankle monitoring company.
Le tiene que dar esto a su abogado y a la fiscalía y también a la compañía que le va a poner el grillete electrónico.
And I think I said stay away from all Chevron gas stations.
Creo que ya dije que tiene que mantenerse lejos de todas las gasolineras Chevron.
$3,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Se le otorga una fianza de $3,000 que puede obtener en promedio de afianzadora si puede. Buena suerte a usted, señor.
Tell him he can leave the booth.
Se puede salir ya de ahí.
And I think that may be it, Ms. Claudia, because I think the other person does not need your services. Let's see, Mr. Sanchez.
Señor Sánchez.
You're good? Okay, he's good.
Okay. I had Serrano Otero Luis Guillermo. Is he not gonna be there?
Ooh. Say that one more time.
Luis Guillermo Serrano Otero. It was on my list. I don't know.
Let's see. So
Luis,
I sent you the three names. Haven't we handled them all?
yes, Your Honor, we sure did. However, there was an asterisk on one of the others on your list,
Oh, okay.
and that was case number 210793.
Let's see. So that's it's something Policimo, right? Is that the one you're talking about?
This one is Luis Guillermo Serrano Otero. Serrano. Otero, Otero.
Judge, that case is not scheduled on the calendar for today.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I just saw it in one of the lists. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Miss Claudia. Have a good evening. Thank you for being so patient.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Too. All right, Yolanda Randolph. Ms. Rosenhoover, it's 22 CP 205-836, 371 days without indictment, aggravated assault. And possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Pre-trial.
No prior arrests.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Rosenhoover.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Randolph is 46 years old. She does have a good address, and I filed a change of address where she'll be staying with her sister and her sister's children. Her whole family is here. She's been born and raised in Georgia. She did graduate high school, and she has been on Social Security disability for mental health for several years now. And she also did have she's had a lot of difficulties mentally, Judge, and after reviewing the report and speaking with the prior attorney, we do think that this is a self-defense situation. Ms. Randolph was found with injuries like stab wounds on her leg. And Judge, she has been in custody now with no one who's able to post her bond now for a very long time. So we would ask for a reduction in this case, something where we could refer her to the bail project. She has strong community ties. She's not a risk to reoffend. She has no reason to see this person again. And so that is our request to the court. Thank you.
And the alleged victim won't be living in that same place, right?
That's correct.
Okay. What says the state?
And Judge, we would just ask that bond remain the same based on the allegations and the violent nature of the allegations involved the victim being stabbed with a kitchen knife. And so we just ask the court just to keep the bonds as is.
As you heard, 371 days without indictment, right?
Yes, ma'am. I understand that.
Okay. Any contact with the victim?
No, ma'am. Looking at my I do not believe that we did. I don't have any information that we had any recent contact, Judge.
Okay. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1350 Mason Turner Road Northwest. And I had it on there before. I can return one time with law enforcement to pick up your items, if there's any there. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, some disability. But if there's any kind of like side employment that she does, then she can leave for employment as long as she provides proof of it, employer schedule, and exactly where she's going to be. I'll reduce them to $4,000 per count, so $8,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, ma'am. But no further contact with Corey Johnson. Sorry, Corey Johnson, if I didn't say that. All right, Shalaka Young. 22 CP 206022. 363 days, no indictment, driving with suspended or revoked license, ag assault, battery, substantial harm, robbery, theft by taking. There's a $14,000 good bond. As of July the 27th, free trial.
Judge, in regards to Ms. Young, multi-state, 22 in Georgia, Wisconsin, South Carolina, and Minnesota. Prior battery, 2018 escape, giving false name, driving with suspended license, and obstruction. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Gowney.
Yes, Your Honor. Before the court is Ms. Young. Ms. Young, like you said, has been in custody for a year at this point, Your Honor, without indictment. The preliminary hearing in this case was held on July the 27th of 2022, Your Honor. Officer showed up. Probable cause was found for some offenses, not others. I believe there was a theft by receiving that the court did not find probable cause for. And there's other charges that were reduced, but Your Honor, in any event, officer was present, was able to testify about the facts of this case, Your Honor. And still there's been no movement as relates to presenting this case to grand jury, Your Honor. It appears that law enforcement had contact with the listed victim in this case. They spoke to him on the scene per the body cam, spoke to him at the hospital. They have his address, have his phone number. And so there should be no concerns about whether or not the victim is available to actually present information to the DA's office so they can move forward with this case, Your Honor. If released on bond, she does have a good address for mail purposes only, Your Honor. It'll be the mail for her uncle, Mr. Clarence Dozier. That address is 3319 Delmar Lane, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, zip code 30331. I spoke to Mr. Dozier this week, as recently as today, Your Honor, with regards to using that address for mail only. And he said that she can do so, Your Honor. As it relates to where Ms. Young will stay, she has a hold from DeKalb County. It's for a misdemeanor giving false name. But we've been in contact with the solicitor's office over in DeKalb, and it appears they're primed to hopefully lift that hold if we are able to give them an acceptance letter. She has been referred to the WellStar program. I gave a description of that program to 88 Fortune in the chat, Your Honor. I think due to the nature of who that whom they actually service at that program. I don't want to really recite that on the record, Your Honor, but it is for a very specialized subsection of people in the community, Your Honor, and she meets the criteria for that program. So hopefully we'll have an acceptance letter at any day, at any point, Your Honor. I heard that pretrial mentions that she has 22 cycles, Your Honor. My review of the GCIC shows that of the 22 cycles, 12 of them happened before 2011. You see a gap in her criminal history until about 2018. To my understanding, upon reviewing her medical records for my social worker, Your Honor, it appears that she was med compliant between 2011 and 2018, and unfortunately just lost kind of contact with those services, Your Honor, and hence you see kind of her appearing back in the criminal justice system. But in any event, Judge, even in spite of those cycles, Your Honor, no FTA, she's been someone to show up to court. The criminal history mostly is nonviolent. And so I think the nonviolent criminal history should speak volumes about Ms. Young. And I do believe that the facts and circumstances here are out of the ordinary for Ms. Young, Your Honor. As it pertains to bond, she has a $7,000 bond on the aggravated assault. We're asking for that to be reduced to $2,000 for each of the misdemeanors, the battery, and the theft by taking. We're asking for that to be between $500 to $1,000 apiece, and for the robbery to be $2,000. We're asking for a good bond in total not to exceed $6,000, so that when she is eventually accepted into the Wellsprings program, we can give an acceptance letter to the Your Honor and the state, and give that to the state over in DeKalb County, get the hold lifted, and then finally get her to the services that she needs, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. What says the state?
Yes, ma'am. And Attorney Gowdy did inform me of some underlying issues that the state is cognizant of. My only concern is that she does have a lot of convictions that look like they're theft related or crimes of dishonesty, especially when we take into account the escape as well. So we would just be concerned about her risk to commit new felonies as well as being a flight risk. Outside of that, Judge, we would just ask that bond remains the same. I believe it was at $14,000 good bond.
Okay. So let's see. All right. Count one, it was already UJ Arthur to jail. Count two, 3,000. Count three, 1,500. Count four, 2,000. Count five, 1,000. And then I'll leave the last count, UJ Arthur the jail, as it is. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Thomas Davis. Stay away from 2511 Lenox Road in Atlanta, Georgia. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for medical appointments, court, lawyer, work. That includes job interviews. You have to supply the name of your employer, proof of employment schedule, and the exact location to your lawyer, and also to this ankle monitoring company. So before we had that, she must reside at Delmar Lane. She's not going to reside there anymore, Ms. Gowney?
No, Your Honor. And that was prior to us getting confirmation back from Wellsprings that they'd be able to take her. And so now that Wellsprings is on the table, we're hopeful that we can get her into that program where she can receive the services based upon her history, Your Honor.
Okay, so Yeah, how about this? How about we put, if she doesn't get into the program, then she has to reside at 331 Delmar Lane.
And that's fine, Your Honor. Thank
Okay,
you.
and she can leave to participate in any programs.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you, ma'am. You can leave the booth.
Can I get the bond amounts again?
Okay, UJR 3, 1500, 2, 1, and UJR.
1, 2. And that's both if I take the UJR.
Well, the other one, the misdemeanor was UJR anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Judge, on Ms. Randolph, the possession of a knife or firearm is dismissed.
That's
She only
correct.
has the one aggravated
Oh, okay.
assault.
See, I wondered why it was on here. Okay, well, it's just 4,000. Sorry.
Thank you, Judge.
I thought so. I was pulling up and looking at it. Yeah, thank you. So that'd just be 4,000. Is that all of the? No, we've got Antoinette, right? Who's handling this? Mr. Nobles, are you handling this? Or there's
Judge.
Mr. All right, Mr. Poole, we got it. There's 3 cases. Antoinette Deshay Hornsby, 21 CP 201307, 244 days. Let's see, looks like pretrial. I'd been on it, came off of it, and then there was a $15,000 good bond that was set in September for terroristic threats, disorderly conduct, carrying a concealed weapon. It's like pretrial came off the other one, 21 CP 201967, willful obstruction felony. And then I'd set a $10,000 good bond September the 6th. 22 CP 209254, 244 days. I'd given a $16,000 good bond on terroristic threats and aggravated assault. 244 days. Pre-trial.
5 prior arrests, no felonies, 1 misdemeanor for consultation. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Poole.
Judge, I've had numerous conversations with her family. Unfortunately, they have not been able to make the bond amounts that Your Honor set for her in the 3 cases on the calendar. I would just ask the court to consider reducing the bond amounts in each case. And, hopefully in time, her family can make it, since the case has not been indicted and she's been in custody for 244 days. She does have a mental health history, and she was getting treatment at Grady, the 10 Park Place location. So again, I'm just asking the court to consider reducing the bond for her in each case on the calendar.
Do we know where she's going to live?
I do, Your Honor. I talked with her family members again, and I talked with Ms. Hornsby. There's an address that
I guess I'm really saying, is it going to be in Atlanta, Fulton County? That's kind of where, and then you can file the change of address.
yes, Judge, it would be, let me turn my volume up. It would be in Atlanta, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. What says the state?
Judge, we would ask that bond remains the same. This defendant does have 3 separate cases, all similar with violent offenses, Judge. And they look like they are also not too attenuated as far as time cases. So we would just ask that the bonds that are in place are, we believe they are reasonable. So we would ask that they remain the same.
All right. So on the one ending in 1307, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Follow all recommendations of any sort of mental health plan that she gets from where she's attending. No further contact with Wilson Orlando. She's going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county. If there's any hold, she'll have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on her ankle. She can leave for court, lawyer, mental health treatment, medical appointments. She can leave for jobs as long as she supplies job employment, name of the employer, schedule, and exact location she'll be working. I'll reduce each of those to $3,000 apiece. Stay away from 2449 Godby Road. All Piccadilly restaurants, same thing. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Position 10, ending in 1967. See, no further contact with Officer S. Porter. S is in Sound Porter unless it's in their official duties. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Follow the recommendations in your mental health program. That ankle monitor is going to be paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, mental health treatment, attorney visits, and medical appointments. You have to, and you can do job once again, as long as you supply proof of employment, schedule, location you're going to be working, and the name of your employer. I reduce that to $5,000. 9254. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 5022 Old National Highway. Once again, any Piccadilly locations, ma'am, don't go back to Piccadilly restaurants. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical, mental health treatments. You can leave for employment, same thing, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employer, the location you'll be working as scheduled. Provide that to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer, who can provide it to the state. Once you get a place you're going to be living, ma'am, you're going to have to also turn that over, file an address with the clerk's office in writing, so they'll know where to send your court notices. I'll reduce each of those to $5,000 apiece. Best of luck to you, ma'am. Is that it, South Annex, or do we have one more? Now the whole thing's
Yeah,
on.
we have
All right.
one more, position 21.
Oh, yeah, Tatiana Thomas, thank you. 22 CP 209255, Tatiana Thomas, 243 days without indictment. Let's see. $80,000 good bond as of September the 6th. Pre-trial. Ooh, that sounded bad.
3 prior arrests. No conviction, well, unfavored offender for aggravated assault firearm during sentence June of last year. 90 days confinement, 9 years, 275 days probation. That victim was Ariana Thomas. And further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Poole.
Judge, Ms. Thomas has been in for 227 days.
243.
243. The bond amount currently is $80,000. Her mom cannot post that. She is 19 years old. If she's able to make bond, she would live in Atlanta off of Fairburn Road. The address is 405 Fairburn Road Southwest. She graduated from Benjamin Mays High School. At the time of the arrest for this incident, she was working at Walmart. And I would just ask the court to consider reducing the bond to $25,000.
All right. What says the state?
Your Honor, given the fact that the defendant is currently on a first offender for similar charges, but also balancing that against the fact that no one was injured in this incident, the state would recommend a bond in the amount of $70,000, reducing count 1 to $65,000 and keeping count 2 at $5,000. And we request special conditions of no contact with the victims, Khadijah Wright and Siobhan Wright, and possess no weapons and stay away from the incident location, 960 Constitution Road, Southeast in Atlanta.
Any contact with the victims?
I have not made contact with them.
Victim advocate.
Ferreira.
Yes, if you give me a minute, I have to pull back. Let's see, what number is this one?
21.
While you're looking, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 960 Constitution Road Southeast in Atlanta, Georgia. No further contact with Siobhan, SHAVON, and Khadijah, KADAYJAH, Wright, and also Rodney Gamble. Going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical visits, and attorney visits. You can go for a job as long as you supply proof of employment, name of your employer, schedule, and exact location you'll be working. Anything, Ms. Ferreira?
Give me 1 second, I'm still pulling it up. Thomas. Okay, I think I did because of this name. 1 second. Let me look. I think the victim texted me. 1 second.
Wait,
on the Zoom
I see-
call?
see Miss Khadijah Wright.
Yeah, I'm in the car. Kadeja, right? I'm in the car.
Okay, woo. Are you driving?
No, I'm in the house. I was just waiting to say something. I didn't know should I say something or not.
Okay, step up. Can you turn your camera on? I got to be able to see you.
Yes. Okay. Hold on. How you turn the camera on? Okay. Okay.
All right, ma'am. Do me a favor, raise your right hand for me. You swear firm testimony about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And pull your hoodie down for me if you don't mind. There you go. Your hair looks just fine. All right, what would you like to say as far as her getting out? Now, she's already got a bond and she has a right to a bond. So strictly about getting out. What's your...
Well, on the night of the incident took place, I will say that me and Tatiana was both under the influence and we made poor decisions, but Tatiana's not a bad person and I don't think she deserved to be, incarcerated. When she get out, I do think anger management and counseling would be good for her, but she's not a bad person. And the night that stuff went down, it was just because we both was under the influence. And she, she has a bad drinking problem. So when she gets out, me and her mom, we was trying to get her some help, so both of us some help in counseling. I think that's all she needs.
All right. Anything from the state?
Basically, I spoke to the other victim as well. There are 2 victims in the case, and she was also not against bonds.
Okay.
I'm definitely not against her getting out. I definitely think she deserves to get out.
Well, I mean, she can get out. She's had a bond. It's just rather high. So, Madam Clerk, you mind placing on there that the victim actually spoke? Or is there any questions from the state for the victim, the alleged victim? Sorry.
No, Your Honor.
All right. All right. 15,000 on count 1, 4,000 on count 2. Best of luck to you, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Wright. You stay safe.
Thank you.
Have a
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
What was that
That's it.
amount, Your Honor?
Sorry. 15 and 4, 19 total. That's it, ACDC?
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
how much? Why you pay?
May we be excused, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. All right, so now we got Gary Hunt. Are you here?
I'm here, Judge.
Okay. Gary Hunt.
I don't
wave-
know if Mr. Hunt is here, though.
Gary Hunt, wave your hand. What about Andrew Wells? All right.
Your Honor, we're asking, because he's been targeted to waive on positions 23 and 25, is letting him in medical.
Waive what?
The naming of those charges, that came from Markowitz herself.
On Andrew Wells?
Mm-hmm. The position numbers, just 23 and 25. We're waiving the sounding of those. Just
I have
because
position 3. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm talking about counts 23 and 25. I'm sorry. For Andrew Wells.
All right, Mr. Wells. Hey, look, 4 North, booth 3. Turn around, shut the door. 4 North, booth 3. No. Pay attention, sir. All right. 22 CP 208589. Andrew Wells, 269 days without indictment. Right now, there is $87,500 good bond. Financial, okay, I'm just gonna have to say times 2 or 3 because I got a huge calendar tomorrow. Financial identity fraud times 3. Financial transaction card theft, possession of tools for a crime, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, theft by possession of stolen mail, theft by receiving stolen property, VGCSA, possession of methamphetamine, 4 times financial identity fraud, deposit account fraud, forgery in the 3rd degree, theft by receiving stolen property, felony, 2, theft by receiving stolen property, misdemeanors, entering auto or motor vehicle with intent to commit a felony, theft by taking, and I got 1, 2, 3, 3 gang charges. Go ahead, pre-trial.
Judge, in regards to Mr. Wells, 19 prior arrests total, open case, 22 CP 208479, theft by receiving stolen property, felony, theft by receiving stolen property, misdemeanor. Capital felony charges, convictions, forgery in the first, financial ID fraud, open probation in Douglas, sentence in 2013, 10-year confinement, 10 years probation. Other felonies, controlled substance, theft by taking, and a couple of meth convictions, couple of arrests for probation violations. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Morrell.
Yes, Your Honor, and that open case, Your Honor, is actually merged into this case. That's some of the counts is 18 through 20. That is the counts in this case, Your Honor. But Mr. Andrew Wells is a lifelong resident, Your Honor. He actually has a valid address out of Powder Springs, Your Honor. Mr. Andrew Wells, he's been at a bond hearing on the 7/5/82 and September 9th. At that time, the state did not have contact with any of the victims, Your Honor. Mr. Andrew Wells, prior to the September 9th, where his last set of charges was added, he had placement into Living Proof, A Better Way, and Salvation Army, which are all residential treatment programs. However, we could not be able to get him out because of the high bond, nor could we get a consent from the state, Your Honor. We've also applied for him to get into drug court. However, he was ultimately denied based off of the charges that was added last, Your Honor. Ultimately, what I'm asking is, since that Mr. Wells has 269, I have spoke with his mother, Ms. Angela Wells, who indicated that she would try to be able to pay the bond so long as it's not higher than 20,000, Your Honor, to be able to get him into an actual treatment program. So we would not be opposed to, if he's able to make bond, have him transported directly to a program. My social work indicates that we may be able to get him back into Living Proof, but of course, we have to show a propensity or likelihood that he'll be able to make bond to secure his bedding space, Your Honor. Ultimately, since there are charges on here that are not signature bond restricted, ultimately, I'm asking for the bond to be reduced. I'm asking for UJRs except for on count 6, which I'm asking for $1,500 bond. On count 7, I'm asking for $1,500. On count 21, I'm asking for $500. On count 23, 24, and 25, I'm asking for $5,000 on each of those charges, and the rest I'm essentially asking for UJRs. And ultimately, that would total out to be a total of $18,000 and $500,000 good bond, Your Honor. Mr. Wells, a lot of his charges, his history stems from his severe drug addiction, in which we're trying to be able to help and get assistance with, Your Honor.
Mr. Hiles.
Your Honor, we're asking that the bonds and all the conditions remain as they are. I do realize it's been a time. This is a case that keeps on giving. It is a massive fraud ring. Each new arrest that we've made and I guess dump of cellular devices, computer, has led to more and more fraud. So the case keeps growing. We had a conversation today about we just got to cut bait at this point. But it will be indicted in the next few weeks. They're essentially multiple counts of identity fraud, but essentially what the ring was doing was committing stealing tax returns information out of mailboxes, filing false tax returns, and collecting tax returns of other individuals. So we feel the bond is fair as set. The conditions would be no contact with any known gang members, no contact with any Norteños 14, and no contact with any gangster disciples specifically. No contact with his co-defendants. That's Donovan, Donovan, Castellanos, Castellonos. Alondra Delgado, Alandra Delgado. Hector Diaz, Hectordiaz, and Ashley Johnson, Ashley Johnson.
Okay, all right, well, just so you know, this isn't a bond that I set from previously. So no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Also have another one on here that was listed before by the other judge that did this. No further contact with co-defendants, Donovan Castellanos, Alondra Delgado, Hector Diaz, Ashley Johnson. Also have one on here, Jeremiah, Kumiawan. Stay away from 7840 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs. Stay away from 8725 Roswell Road and 375 FIARY Lane. I keep hearing stuff. Let's see. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical. Also stay away from 200 Manziel Court. No further contact with victims. Giselle, Jezelle Jones, Stephen, Stehpen, Quan, Kwon, Tyler Williamson, Richard Bent, Sabrina Christmas, Kevin Riviera, Riveria, Isis Thornton, Carly Smith, Karleesmit, Joseph Vanderbeck, Jason Jones, Dontaria Summers, Musa Alfafi, Alfafi, Jordan Rock, and there's a Stephen Quan, Steven. That ankle monitor, you can leave for that reason. What address is he going to be living at? You're on mute, Mr. Morrell.
Your Honor, I can provide it in the chat. The mother says she requested to not have it on the
Okay, is
YouTube.
it Fulton County?
No, it's in Cobb County. It's in Powder Springs.
Okay. Stay out of Fulton County unless he's here for court or to see his lawyer. They need to file that change of address though in the clerk's office. No further contact with any gang members, any think you want to be gang members, trying to be gang members, pledges of, would you say gangster disciples? And what was the other one, Mr. Hiles?
Norteños 14.
Norteños 14, and also no replicas of weapons. Actually, this is way lower than I would ever leave it. Let's see. So, Ms. Tracy, I'm just gonna look, count 8. I'm going to reduce to 1,000. I'm going to leave everything the same except reduce count 8 to 1,000. Best of luck to you, sir.
Your Honor, that was my last case. May I please be excused?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, you can leave the booth. Anthony Townsend. All right. We have who's handling this case? Okay, there you go. I see you now. 22CP207020. Anthony Townsend, 328 days without indictment. Aggravated assault, family violence, possession of firearm or knife during the commission of a felony, and aggravated battery, family violence. Right now, there's a $55,000 good bond. Pre-trial. I see you still have your Christmas tree up there, Miss Jones.
Of course I do.
Go ahead.
Judge, in regards to Mr. Townsend, 15 prior arrests, open case 20 CP 195813, criminal damage to property, control 1 or 2 drug-related objects, took a plea on a simple battery, simple assault, shoplifting, a simple battery, 12522. Those victims are Chris Evans, Jermaine Martin, and Anthony Andrews. 1 FTA and 22 2 arrests for probation violations, 4 misdemeanors, nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, seeing the lights makes me feel happy. Thank you for that.
That's why, of course, it's up. It's the only thing that brings me joy sometimes. Unfortunately, I couldn't hear what the pretrial officer said prior to my client took a plea on a misdemeanor.
Say it one more time for Bostic.
$15 prior arrests, 20 CP 195-313. No. 15 prior arrests in an open case.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Jones.
Bostic, does that mean 15 cycles on the GCIC? Or did you actually count real arrests? I don't even see 15 cycles on the GCIC. I'm not sure what the pretrial officer is referencing, Judge. What I do know is my client has no felony convictions. He's got some misdemeanor history, but that's all. As you said, he's been in for well over 300 days without an indictment. The only reason he has a bond in the first place is that he was incarcerated for more than 90 days without an indictment, and so he was entitled to a bond for that reason. He was given, I believe, by Your Honor, a $55,000 bond. I don't know how to get the case moving. I don't believe that an email to Ms. Willis will do anything. But if you do send an email to Ms. Willis, I'd actually beg you to add my client's case to it. I've filed a waiver of indictment, despite the fact that the law allows the state to go forward by accusation on these charges, as I understand it. I filed a waiver of indictment for this case. That hasn't moved the state to do anything either. My client's 30 years old. As I said, and as I believe the pretrial officer indicated, my client doesn't have any felony convictions. I'm going to ask for a UJR if that's something that he can have. If not, I'd ask for, I guess, a bond and like the amount of $1. My client's been in longer than if my client were to enter a plea on these charges as is, which I don't want him to do because I think I could secure him an acquittal, and I'm ready for trial on the case. But if he were to enter a guilty plea on these charges, there's not a superior court judge in front of that I've been in front of who would not sentence him or who would not give him a sentence that would allow him to leave the jail today. He has a terminal illness, which I don't want to identify for you only because we're in front of a bunch of people. Both in court and on YouTube, as I understand it. I don't think he's getting the appropriate treatment in the Fulton County Jail. And I don't believe, but correct me if I'm wrong, state, that there has been any contact with the state, with the complaining witness in the case. In fact, I believe that the complaining witness in the case doesn't even live in the state of Georgia anymore. I believe he lives in Chicago, Illinois. My client has family here in Georgia. Family here in Atlanta specifically, and I have an address where he would live when he's released to bond, which I can provide in the chat or I can provide through a change of address. So
is it going to be in Fulton County?
It is in Fulton County, Judge.
Okay.
30315.
I think we have a Tanette Townsend. Is that, I know the alleged victim is Anthony Townsend Sr.
Judge, if I may.
Oh, Tanette is my client's sister.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Ferrer.
Basically, I did speak with both. I spoke with the dad as well as the sister. And I explained that regardless, he might be getting a bond, but what was his position on the bond? And he said, I want him to sit in there a little longer. And then the daughter as well. They were both against bond. I spoke to them today because I remember because they all have the last name. But I just looked it up.
Where does, Ms. Ferrera, where does the complaining witness reside now?
Oh, that I don't know. I was just giving them the information. Actually, Miss Townsend should have been on the call. I provided her.
Ms. Townsend, do you want to say something?
She's not involved in the case at all.
Okay,
Hello?
hold on. Ms. Townsend, hold on. You got to turn your camera on.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Okay, if you raise your right hand for me.
Okay.
Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Ms. Townsend, if you do me a favor, I just want to hear about bond, nothing about the facts of the case. I really just want to hear about your opinion on bond. Right now, he has a $55,000 good bond.
$55,000?
Yes, ma'am. He's been here 328 days.
Okay. I don't really know because my dad.
Where does your dad live, Ms. Townsend?
My dad is here with me in Chicago, Illinois.
I mean, I guess you understand, Ms. Townsend, the way he gets out if somebody posts his bond. So if you,
I have no way of posting bond for him.
so that's what I'm saying. Ms. Ferrera said you didn't want him to get out, you want him to sit there. So unless somebody's going to get him out, he's not going to get out.
I have no way of posting bond for him.
Ms. Townsend, is it your position that you would like your brother to sit there?
No, that's what the dad said. That she didn't say that. Her father said that, the actual victim. But I didn't know he was out of state or any of that other stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Ms. Townsend, does your father still want him to remain in jail?
Yes, he do.
Does he want the bond reduced?
I mean, yes.
Judge, I'm going to object to this hearsay. Ms. Townsend has nothing to offer on the case. She's not a witness.
But my dad is here.
Okay, can we see him really quickly? Because I feel Mr. Townsend, do me a favor, please. Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
All right, right now he has a $55,000 good bond. The only way he's going to make it is if somebody goes and posts it. You have an opinion whether or not it should be reduced.
Yeah, they can reduce it if you can.
Okay, gotcha. What says the state?
Judge, being that the victim is present and has spoken, we would agree on $15,000 on each count for a total bond of $4,500. We believe that is appropriate. Looking at the allegation that the father was stabbed by his son.
Okay, Ms.
My client can't post a 15 plus $5,000 bond.
Okay,
and that's something that Your Honor is supposed to consider as well. He's been sitting in there for almost a year without indictment. I've invited an accusation. They don't have a complaining witness in the state. My client isn't going to be a threat to any witnesses because they're not even here.
Okay,
and I can't figure out how to get the case to progress forward.
All right, I'll include this on my email because it's crazy they keep showing up in front of me so long. All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 2890 Delow Drive. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical visits. Update your address. Your lawyer will update that in writing. You can also leave for employment as long as you provide the name of your employer. Proof of employment, a schedule, and exact location you'll be working to your lawyer, sir, and also to the ankle monitoring company. So I'll make it 10, 5, and 10. 10, 5, and 10. Best of luck to you, sir. Ms. Tracy, please put on there that the victim and the sister showed up also, and no further contact with Anthony Townsend Sr. Thank you, sir. You can leave the booth. Thank you, Ms. Jones. Is that all you had?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Andrew, let's see. We have the lawyer for Andrew Gibson.
Yes, Judge. I'll be handling that for Miss Wood.
All right. Here we go. Andrew Gibson, 22 CP 208388, 275 days without indictment, aggravated assault, interference with government property, terroristic threats and acts. Got a $25,000 split bond with the UJR through, UJR through pretrial for the interference with government property. Pretrial.
Gibson, multi-state offender, 15 in Tennessee, 6 in Maryland, prior fugitive from justice, 2 misdemeanors, convictions for assault in both states, 1 in 2013. Nothing further.
All right, what says this? Excuse me, go ahead, Ms. Rosenhoover.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gibson is 30 years old, and Ms. Wood has worked incredibly hard on securing placement for him. He does suffer from mental health issues, and she got him into Metro Community Ministries that's here in College Park. And she also has secured treatment through the Grady's intensive case management team. So they're going to be working with him as well. She's confirmed that as recently as January 15th, they're still holding a spot for him. Judge, he just doesn't have the financial resources to post this bond. He is originally from Maryland, but he does have a lot of family support here. And I do have an updated Atlanta address where his brother resides that we can add to the file. I'll do a change of address so that he can get mail. Your Honor, also just want to note that no injuries were sustained, and I believe that Andy made it to the 9th grade and was working in construction prior to his arrest. Thank you, Judge.
So do we have an address he's going to live, or is he going to be able to provide that when he bonds out?
He'll be staying immediately at the Metro Community Ministries location. It's an
Okay.
inpatient facility.
And then after that, you have to supply the address?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, what says the state?
The state's bond recommendation is $11,000, broken down as follows: 10,000 on count 1, UJR on count 2, and 1,000 on count 3. Special conditions: no contact with the victim, Michael Morris, no possess no weapons, and stay away from the incident location, 41 10th Street in Atlanta.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, work, and for your and treatment at the facility where you're going to be staying in College Park. And so you'll have to provide an address once you leave that facility where you're going to be staying. Stay away from 410 10th Street. And also stay away from all MARTA stations. You're already suspended from there anyway, since you got arrested by them. They already go ahead and suspend you. And if you go and use work, you can supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, the exact location that you'll be working, and a schedule. Give it to the ankle monitoring company and to the to your lawyer who can supply it with the state. 8,000 on count 1, 1,000 on count 2. Best of luck to you, sir, and no further contact with Michael Morris. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Mario Dawson. All right, Ms. Gowdy, position 2. 21 CP 202372. Mario Dawson, 168 days without indictment. Criminal damage to property, 1st degree, simple battery against a peace officer, detention officer. Pre-trial was on there. They came off. And then let's see, the other bond before was a $5,000 good bond. And then it was went to pre-trial on May the 11th, but they came off of it. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mario Dawson, 18 prior arrests, felony probation for obstruction, 11/29/22 for 2 years. Prior aggravated battery, family offense, family violence, 2 counts with the intent. 2017 aggravated assault, family violence. 1 FTA, 1 misdemeanor, nothing further.
Go ahead, Ms. Gowdy.
Yes, Your Honor. Before the court is Mr. Dawson. Mr. Dawson is 39 years old. He was on the calendar last week on the 12th, Your Honor. I believe that we discussed that he had been accepted essentially into or under the purview of the Grady Act team. He has a Grady Act team counselor that he's been assigned to, Ms. Raquel. And in speaking with them over the past week, I think it'd be difficult for us to, if the court were allowing him to have a UJR, I think it'd be difficult for us to assign a point person from the Grady Act team to essentially be responsible for picking him up from the jail just because of their schedules. So we're trying to find a way for him to go into the care or custody of the Grady Act team only, or any type of ICM, intensive care management services that they have set up for him, so that he's just not allowed to be wandering about on the streets. Under the ICM services, he would receive housing, hospitalization services, access to medications via Park Place and Grady, and so forth, Your Honor. So I really want him to have those services set up. As soon as he leaves, those services are in place. We just have to find a way to make sure that he gets directly there. Grady, unlike some of the other programs that we partner with, is not necessarily a location that he can just be dropped off at and then be taken in through like an intake kind of source. So we're actively working on figuring out the best way to kind of get him directly acclimated into those services upon release from the jail, Your Honor. So as it relates to bond, we're asking for the court to consider, because he has a no bond status at this point, he's entitled to a bond. We're asking for a $2,000 good bond at this point. However, if the court were inclined, once we have a transfer order that outlines kind of the exact dates, the locations where he would go, that the court be willing to convert that to UJR at that time only, Your Honor. But at this moment, we're asking for a $2,000 good bond, Judge.
All right, Ms. Aaron, Ms. Gowdy, why don't you reach out to Dexter Douglas and see if he has any ideas of what it needs to say, since there may not be a point person. He may have some ideas for that too. Go ahead, Mr. Fortune.
Yes, Judge. These are some of our less egregious charges. So I was thinking about 2,000 good bond as well, Judge.
Okay, there you go. Put that on there, Miss Aaron. The state agreed. 1,000 per count for 2,000 total. No drugs unless prescribed. No alcohol. No weapons. You must abide by all rules and instructions of counseling. Comply with all rules and regulations of whatever they're going to need you to do at Grady or whatever program you're in, and take all medications, sir. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And Ms. Galley, just send it to me whenever you get it, and stay away from 211 Campbellton Road. That's the Chevron gas station.
Also, Judge, I'd like to add that I did speak to the Chevron from the people at Chevron, and I gave him all of the details, and he didn't remember, but he was going to be on the Zoom. So I didn't realize till right now that was the same person from last week.
Right. And stay away from Chevron gas station. That Chevron gas station, all other Chevron gas stations. Best of luck to you, sir. All right. DeAndre Norris. Ms. Correa, it's 22 CP 212846, 110 days without indictment, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of a firearm or a knife during the commission of a felony, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Here it says, unless they came off of it, Freedom Rings bonding was on there, unless they came off, Ms. Correa, and it was at 22.5.
Yes. Oh, I apologize.
It's okay. Bostic.
I'm trying to find it, Judge.
Okay. Do you know while she's looking for it, Ms. Correa, did
What number is it?
5?
Okay. DeAndre Norris, 13 prior arrests, 3 arrests for probation violation, currently on probation for entering auto firearm. Sentence 126-22, 18 months, 3 years, 6 months. Sentence 126-22, 21 SC 178276. Firearm by convicted felon, sentence same day. Then also 16 SC 144929, aggravated assault on police officer, 4 counts, 3 years confinement, 7 years probation, 10-3-17, and also theft by receiving stolen property and fleeing and eluding. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Correa.
Thank you, Your Honor. And my understanding is that while that bond was initially posted, it was in the bonding out process that a probation violation hold popped up, and that is what is also additionally keeping him in custody. So he has been in custody for 110 days. This is his first court, at least on this unindicted matter, since his first appearance. So this is his first bond hearing. He has not had a preliminary hearing. Mr. Norris turned 26 in his time at the Fulton County Jail. The address that you see reflected on Odyssey is his good address out of Fairburn, Georgia. At the time of his arrest, he was gainfully employed working for a local cleaning business, providing janitorial services to local businesses and private homes. He attended Carver High School, so he is local to Georgia and does have strong connections to our community, in addition to being a lifelong resident. He does have
three born children, one child on the way. He has a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and then the child that he is expecting. And we do have, proper contact information for himself, his family, and his significant other. At this time, I am asking Your Honor to consider reducing his bond, given that he has now been in custody since the beginning of October and hasn't had any any way to generate any income for himself. The bond as it's currently set is no longer affordable to him, as that money has had to be allocated towards his children and ensuring their well-being while he's been in custody. I'm asking Your Honor to consider reducing this bond in half. Thank you, Your Honor.
So Ms. Correa, they did come off of the bond, or is it posted?
My understanding is that they've come off of the bond.
Okay, what says the state?
Briefly, Judge, we would just ask for 6,000 on possession of marijuana with
That was him that froze, right? Not me.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you the same question.
Thank God. I'm sorry it's taking so long, guys. It's just a huge calendar. We're trying to make up for that day when they lost power.
I understand. I'm sorry that you're not feeling well.
Oh, it hit me like night before last, just bad. I keep running 102 fever. I can't get it to break. I'm not COVID though. I keep testing. It's not COVID, it's the flu.
Yeah.
Oh, he froze
All
up.
right, Rancheros.
Miss Burnett, can you text him or something? Let him know that he froze.
Yeah.
Or call him. I don't. Well, maybe he's just logged out and logged back on. Then I got a huge TPO calendar tomorrow too. My luck. Time's passing.
Judge Man.
Yes, yes,
On
ma'am.
Mr. Gibson, what was his bond amount?
Who?
Gibson.
How long ago was that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, Judge, I lost my connection.
That's all right. Go ahead. It was 8,000 and 1,000. And a UJR with interference. 8,000 UJR and then 1,000. All right, go ahead, Mr. Fortune.
The state would be asking for 20,000 total bond, 6,000 on the possession of marijuana with intent, and 7,000 each on the 2 gun charges.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 806 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard. And then 7 and 7, 5, 7, and 7. Best of luck to you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor. And that concludes my business for the evening, if I may be excused.
Yes, ma'am, unless you want to take over for me. No?
I think I'm missing some qualifications for that, Your Honor.
All right, let's see. Is this you, Ms. Rosenhuber? James Jackson, or somebody's gonna hear James Jackson?
That's not me, Judge. I have Robbie.
Okay, I didn't see you. Sorry. All right, this is position 22 CP 208720. 265 days without indictment. There is a $22,000 good bond as of August the 2nd. Burglary in the first degree, theft by taking, and criminal trespass. Pre-trial.
Currently on probation for a couple of cases: burglary, snatch and grab, criminal damage to property, 31319, 2-year confinement, 8 years probation, 19 SC 164988. Also heroin, firearm during obstruction, fleeing and eluding firearm by a convicted felon, 72919, 2 years confinement, 3 years probation. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, Judge. Thank you. So in regards to the probation cases mentioned, I think those may have expired. There is no hold active that I could see as of today. Mr. Jackson has been in since April 3rd, 2022. His date of birth is July 26th, 86. He will be residing at 349 Blair Villa Drive in Hapeville, Georgia, with his uncle, Dennis Mitchell. He has a daughter, a 17-year-old daughter, who lives with her mother. He is a landscaper by trade, so by no means a man of means. As such, we are asking for a significant reduction in this case. Mr. Jackson has been in for 265 days without indictment. This is a single witness case that we're waiting for an indictment on. It is not complicated. It's property crimes. I do not have any explanation as to why this hasn't been indicted yet. I hope that the state can maybe answer that today. Considering the nature of the charges, we think that a much lower bond is appropriate. Again, it's going to be hard for Mr. Jackson to post any kind of bond considering his financial situation. However, the lower the better. Certainly something under $5,000 will be appropriate, Judge, in aggregate.
All right, what says the state?
The state's bond recommendation is 10,000 on count 1, 1,000 on count 2, and 1,000 on count 3 for a total of $12,000.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 3499 Blair Villa Circle. I had on before they could return one time with law enforcement to pick up his items.
That shouldn't apply. They're two different addresses. They sound similar, but they're two different addresses.
Oh, okay. Then let's see. An ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, attorney visits, and employment. Name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. Sir, you need to supply it to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer. No further contact with Kelvin, Kelvin Hill, Mark Jones, and Keilah Dickinson, and Samuel Raines, Raines. So I got 8,000, 1,000, and 1,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. And Ms. Aaron, you can look at my former bond order. That's got those names on there. Jesse Sanchez. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. All right, we got 22 CP 208-350 Jesse Sanchez. 279 days without indictment. There is a $18,000 good bond as of 6/9/2022. 3 counts of ag assault. Pre-trial.
What position is this?
14.
In regards to Jesse Sanchez, 6 prior arrests, 2022 of conviction for simple assault, 2013 criminal attempt to commit a felony. 1 arrest for probation violation, 1 arrest for parole violation, 1 misdemeanor. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Nobles. Mr. Nobles, you're on mute. Sorry.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Mr. Sanchez is 29 years old. He is a U.S. citizen born in this country. He's lived in Georgia for the last 25 years. Prior to his arrest, he was working in the landscaping industry. He is a father of 3 children, ages 10, 5, and 1. Upon release, he does intend to live at 215 Northwood Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. He's been in custody for 279 days, and the case still remains unindicted. He currently has a bond amount in the amount of $18,000 that he is just simply unable to post. I would ask the court to consider his ability to pay. And also, I would inquire as to the state whether they've had any contact with their alleged victims in the case. My understanding is that they were all Spanish speakers and not from this area. I'm not interested in participating in the prosecution. So he could be, stuck in jail for however long while. So I'd inquire as to contact with the witnesses, no wishes.
All right. What's his? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just to wrap it up, I'd ask the court to reduce his bond to $3,000 for each count for a total bond of $9,000.
Where's he going to be living?
That address is 215 Northwood Drive, apartment 326 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. What says the state?
Really brief. The state is concerned because there are 3 separate victims in this particular case, 2 of which were actually injured by the hands of the defendant. I can defer to pretrial as far as our contact with the victims because I'm not entirely clear on that. But however, Judge, I would just want to emphasize that the 3 aggravated assault charges did come from a knife that was in the possession of the defendant. So we believe that 6,000 on each count is pretty reasonable, and we ask the court to keep that good bond in place.
Victim advocate, did you hear from any of the victims?
No, I was unfortunately not able to speak to any of those victims. I sent text messages, but that was about it.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Rafael, Rafael, Reyes, Reyes, and then Cruz, Cruz, last name Guerrero. And then the next victim is Bahena, Bartolo. Miss Aaron, those are on my former bond order, just in case you need to know. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. You're going to have income on her paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical emergencies, employment, as long as you supply proof of employment, name of your employer, location you'll be working in, a schedule. You have to supply that to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer so they can supply it to the state. Stay away from 215 Northwood Drive in Sandy Springs. No contact with any of the witnesses also. One of them is.
I'm sorry, Judge. That address was his home address. That's not the incident location, to my understanding.
What I put on there before for some reason. I guess somebody else lived there.
Oh, it is. It is listed as an incident location. Okay.
Yeah. There. See, y'all don't trust the fact that I actually read all these warrants and all kinds of notes. All right. Here I am. No contact with these witnesses. Perla, Perla, last name Rumualdo. Angelina Nava, Nava, and Julia, Julia Nava. 5,000 on each count. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
And
Mario,
Judge, I apologize for being late earlier this afternoon. That does complete my business. Might be excused.
yes, sir. That's fine. I had a whole bunch trying to make up for the other stuff, and I'm going as fast as I can. People, Mario Walker. Have a good evening, Mario Walker. All right, Ms. Bray. Here we go again. 21 CP 203-776. Mario Walker. 462 days without indictment. Aggravated assault, strangulation, false imprisonment, ag assault, criminal trespass, burglary in the first degree. Pre-trial.
21 prior arrests. Open case 021 12 SC 110597, criminal damage to property in the second, and tools, 3 misdemeanors, few FTAs, convictions is for battery and false imprisonment. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor, you have before you Mr. Mario Walker. He is 52 years old. Well, he might be 53 by now, Your Honor, because he's been in all this time. But the address that we have for him, job-wise, is DSI. That address is 2082 Faulkner Road, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, 30324. Your Honor, he has family, 2 adult children. They're in their 30s. He has other family that all resides here in the Georgia area. And as you stated, 462 days. We've already done the prelim hearing on this case. I think the last time we addressed bond before Your Honor was August the 11th. At that time, Your Honor reduced the bond to $65,500. Because nothing has happened since August of last year, I'm asking Your Honor to substantially reduce the bond further. And I would like for it to be in half.
And did you tell me, and I just missed it, I'm sorry, where he's going to live?
Oh, the address I'm giving you is 2082 Faulkner Road, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
30324.
And that's where he'll live. Okay. What's his estate?
The state's bond recommendation is 20,000 on count 1, 10,000 on count 2, 20,000 on count 3, 500 on count 4, and 2,500 on count 5. I believe that total is 53,000.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, attorney visits. You also need to provide name of your employer, proof of employment, a schedule, and the exact location. to the ankle monitoring company, sir, and also to your lawyer. No further contact with Marilyn Fluker. No
Now-
further contact.
Your Honor, let me get this out there because I know Mr. Walker is going to be feeling some kind of way if I don't put this out there. Miss Fluker, there was another case, it was in state court. It was set for trial. She didn't come, but the state tried to go forward anyway over it, like using that excited utterance or something.
Sure.
Anyway, that didn't work because the officer testified that every time she calls, she's always under the influence of stuff. So you can't trust anything she says. So he won the case in state court. This case involves her here in Superior Court. Mr. Walker is ready to go to trial. He'll go to trial on this matter. The problem's going to be the state getting their witness to come to court because she wouldn't do it in state court. And I think on other stuff, she just won't come forward. She'll call the police and everything, but then she doesn't follow through, Your Honor.
I got you, Mr. Walker. So it'd be a good thing that you have no further contact with Miss Fluker. Marilyn Fluker, stay away from her. If I were you, I'd stay away from her for good. But that's just what I would do. The ankle monitor is going to be paid for by the county. We'll go ahead and do 10,000, 10,000. 15,500 and 1,500. 10,000, 10,000, 15,000, 500 and 1,500. You got that, Miss Aaron?
Because I think that makes it 37. If the math is right.
You got that, Miss Aaron? I think so. Miss Aaron?
I got it.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Miss Braid, you can go ahead and lay the booth, sir. Lee Demarest. Miss Bray, it's position 2, 22 CP 211977. Use. Okay, Demarest Lee, 140 days with no indictment. Possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, possession of firearm or a knife during the commission of a felony, possession of drug-related objects, 140 days, no indictment, $28,000 good bond as of September the 2nd. Pre-trial.
27 prior arrests, prior aggravated assault, battery, family violence in 2014. Prior cocaine, prior burglary, prior criminal damage to property, still on probation for the burglary, criminal damage to property. 20-year sentence, 10 SC 87876. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lee is 60 years old. He's had a birthday since being in custody, Your Honor. The address I have for him is 2776 Hedgewood Drive, Southwest Atlanta 30311. He works for Weldon Towing Company, and he also does home renovations. That's the type of field he's been in for the last 25 years. He has been unable to afford the $28,000 bond that he has, Your Honor. I did address bond November 30th before Judge Drake, but she denied my request to reduce the bond. We did have prelim on December 12th. And now we're here. Nothing has happened. It hasn't been indicted. So I'm asking that Your Honor reduce the bond in half.
I was about to say, didn't come in front of me. I addressed bond with him prelim. Knock it out. Is he still going to live on Marietta Street?
The address I have is with his sister, 2776 Hedgewood Drive, Southwest.
Is it Fulton County or Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Okay.
30311.
All right. What says the state? 5 South, sit down, because if I can stay here, you can stay there. 7 North, sit down once you stretch. If I can stay here, you can stay here. What says the state?
Judge, I would ask that bond remains the same. We do feel that this is reasonable. The allegations state that he was seen and with a hand-to-hand transaction. And felonies go back to 1984, Judge. So that's quite some time. So we would ask that the bond remains the same.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. LT, what happened to 7 North, that booth 3? Either he's covered it, moved it, or it's frozen. No drugs unless prescribed.
It
no
might be
alcohol.
frozen, huh?
All right, no weapons. Stay away from 942 Lucille Street Southwest. Stay away from Atrium Senior Living College Town. Have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical, and also work. Need to provide the name of your employer, a schedule. Wait, what just happened?
What?
I think because the Outlook has it from 5 to 8, the booths might have
Oh, sorry.
the booths might have cut out. So let me see if I can re-invite them.
Okay, sorry, that was loud, wasn't it? I didn't think it was that loud.
Okay, let me see if I can re-invite them.
Oh gosh, sorry it's taking so long. This was like 40 some odd people. We're almost done though. We don't have many more.
Judge, you still move pretty fast though.
I'm trying.
We did get through a lot.
Hey, while y'all do that, I'm gonna go and grab my meds and take them real quick. So I'll be right back by the time you invite those.
Okey-doke.
And get a little bit more fluid here to drink. I'll be right back. Does it not allow you to invite them back, or are they just coming slow?
They're coming slow. We're inviting them back. They were just coming slow.
Okay. Oh, Miss Brady, while we're waiting on them to come back, I know you sent me this order. Did the state agree to this one?
Which case is that, Your Honor?
Oh, Butler.
Oh, yes, Your Honor, you should
Ivory
see
did. Okay, yes.
the state's response underneath the order. I can re-forward it to you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
And Judge, while we have a minute, position 6, Marcus Johnson, Your Honor called that earlier. That's Mr. Rhodes's case. And he wanted to go ahead and withdraw that motion since you set bond on the 10th of January after prelim. He was under the impression it was going to be removed.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And what's that?
That's position 6, Mr. Marcus Johnson.
Oh, it was
What's the-
addressed, looking on Odyssey, it was addressed at prelim on the 10th.
It was 21,500 total.
When I do the prelims, I address bond at prelim. I mean, just kind of makes sense to me. At least that's what when me and McBurney talked about it. We were like, why not do it? You're there. But
Sarah, I think your client's trying to get your attention. Or 5 North. I don't know if that's your client or not.
I'm handling Robbie Mosley. Are you Robbie Mosley? Doesn't look like it. Oh, he may be Marcus Johnson.
let's see.
Oh, my apologies.
Are you
Either
Marcus
way.
Johnson? Give me a
Nope.
thumbs up. Okay. Well,
Don't think it's for
do
me.
we have Demers Lee back yet? There you go. That's
Is it
him.
5 North?
All right, here you go. We finished on Demers Lee, right?
Did
It
you
was
give
my
me an
turn.
amount?
There he is. It's my turn. I'm just giving the amount, right?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. 5,000, 2,000, 5,000, 5,000, and $100. 5,000, 2,000, 5,000, 5,000, and $100. You got that, Miss Aaron? Did you say yes?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Making sure. All right, sir, you can leave the booth. Gordon Brossard. That's it, sir. That's it. I don't do math for you. Gordon Brossard. Gordon Brossard. No, not yet. All right, what about Clarence Jackson?
He was there earlier.
Yeah, Clarence Jackson. I think there's a couple booths that need to join still. Kamal Craig. All
Judge,
right.
I'm here for Clarence Jackson. I don't see him on the Zoom. but-
I don't see him yet. All right, we got 22 CP 209682, Kamal Craig, 226 days without indictment. There's a $45,000 good bond as of September the 8th. Armed robbery, ag assault with intent to rob, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies. Pre-trial.
30 prior arrests, total 12 in Georgia, 18 Louisiana. Criminal attempt at a felony, a couple of misdemeanors, 2 FTAs currently on probation for aggravated assault, firearm during cocaine and robbery in Gwinnett, sentence 12/11/17. 3 years confinement, 10 years probation, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Royal.
Yes, Your Honor. Kamal Craig is my client, Your Honor. He's been living in Georgia for over 15 years, Your Honor. He does have an Atlanta address, which is the zip code of 30311. Your Honor, at that address, he does live with his uncle. When we were back in the bond hearing back in September 8th, Your Honor, I had the mother indicate that she was trying to get him to his hold, which is out in Gwinnett County, Your Honor. As you indicated, we did have his prelim 109 days ago, which was on October 3rd. And at that time, Deputy John Turner from the DA's office said he was going to walk the case over to get it indicted. And here we are. And so ultimately, what I'm asking, Your Honor, is because the mother says she can afford a $20,000 bond, I'm asking for the armed robbery to be reduced to $10,000. I'm asking for the aggravated assault to be placed at a $5,000 and a possession of a firearm at a $5,000. I do understand the state. Not the state, that in his history there was 2 FTAs and the only felony conviction is the aggravated assault out of Gwinnett, Your Honor. But I do believe that he has been placed on an ankle monitor, so I believe that will resolve his FTA, Your Honor. He does have a severe health diagnosis that causes bleeding in his brain, Your Honor. And so we're just trying to be able to get him out so he can get proper care for that, Your Honor. And prior to just for employment purposes, prior to him being incarcerated, he was working through a staffing agency, which is where he was getting some support for his psychiatric care as well as his other mental health, which allows him to be able to work, Your Honor. And so we're just asking for the bond to be reduced so he can get to his hold so he can get back.
What's his estate?
Judge, asks that bond remains the same as alluded to. He does have FTAs as well as a violent history. So take into account that he could reoffend and be a victim here, Judge. We would accept remains the same.
No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Forrest Harrison, Harrison. Stay away from 1975 Campbellton Road. That's Welcome Foods. You're gonna have an ankle monitor with a 24-hour paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical. Also work as long as you provide the name of your employer, proof of employment, the location, and the schedule. You're gonna have to provide a schedule to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer. Excuse me, who'll turn it over to the state. If you have any holds, you'll have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle after you get released from any kind of holds if they're still there. Yeah, 10,000, 15,000, and 8,000. 10,000, 15,000, 8,000. Got that, Ms. Aaron?
I have it.
10, 15, and 8. Thank you. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. We have Ali Alatif. Mr. Alatif, thank you. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, sir. You got
Yes,
two
Your Honor.
cases.
Judge, man, that excuse my business. May I be excused?
Yes. Happy holiday. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
All right, it's 22 CP 207689. Ali Alatif. 303 days.
Position number?
That's number
15 and 16. All right. Anybody else got anything they want to say before I'm dying, people? I am so much struggling. Help me, please, God help me, okay? Ali Alatif, 22 CP 207689. 303 days without indictment. You got armed robbery, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, aggravated assault. The second case is 22 CP 212282. 303 days without indictment. This is no bond on an aggravated assault. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Alatif, 10 prior arrests, old open case, 10 SC 89291, entering auto 3 counts, theft by taking 3 counts, is in judicial hold, convictions, prior criminal damage to property, burglary, firearm doing, firearm by, ag assault, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Sun. Are you going to handle both these, Mr. Sumnall?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, go ahead.
And Judge, I want to point out he is entitled to bond on the aggravated assault on which he does not have a bond first and foremost. Mr. Alatif is his date of birth is 9/2/86. He will be living at 2168 MLK Junior Drive, Atlanta, Georgia 30314, with Lucindia Lawrence, his girlfriend. He is from the Atlanta area, born and raised. He has significant connections to the community, including his one and only child. He has a son that was born last August. That son has unfortunately not gotten a chance to meet his father yet. And the child also has some severe health conditions. He was born with the heart on the wrong side, with organs inverted, and that has necessitated numerous surgeries, the last of which was, according to my client, last week. He is a high school graduate. He went to community college as well. He also has a job lined up. He had a job previously at U-Haul. He has been in contact with them, and it seems that they are willing to let him reapply and to get him reinstated. I do believe he has a hold from South Carolina, so he does have to go there and figure out a probation case there. What I will say is he has been in over 300 days, 303 days, no indictment. Just like a lot of the cases I have on this calendar, these are not complicated cases. Even the one with the more serious charge, these are single witness cases. I inquire of the state what's taking so long, but yeah, these are not hard. Certainly the jail fight shouldn't be hard because the victim is in jail, so it's very available for interview on a trafficking cocaine, I believe. Either way, in that case in particular, the injuries are described as superficial, and Mr. Alatif's involvement is not detailed in the warrant, as Your Honor is well aware from reading it. So in aggregate on both of these cases, total, I would ask for a 10 to 15,000 aggregate bond so that Mr. Alatif can hopefully post that, get on to South Carolina, address the probation hold from there and come back. And hopefully by that time, these cases will be indicted so that we can actually take them into court and reach a final resolution, possibly through jury trial on both of these. So that's all I have, Judge.
All right, Mr. Alatif, that's very unusual to have a child with inverted organs, but it's not life threatening. I'm sure that your child's going to be okay, but I do wish them a lot of luck. That's just unusual. All right, go ahead. What says the state?
The state says that bond is fair and reasonable on position number 15. The bond is actually incredibly low, given the fact that Mr. Alatif is alleged to have shot someone 3 times. And as for a bond recommendation on position 16, the recommendation is $100,000. He stabbed someone multiple times with a shank while in the Fulton County Jail. So that's our recommendation.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect, Judge. Those allegations are not detailed in the warrant. There are 3 other co-defendants. It's alleged that he was party to that crime. We are strenuously opposing that allegation that he had hands on a shank at any point, Your Honor.
Okay, were you finished, Ms. Burnett? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead, Ms. Burnett. Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right, position 15, ending in 7689. Stay away from 1107 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, lawyer, medical. And it looks like in here, since there's issues with your child, if there's a medical appointment for your child, sir, you can go with a doctor with your child, but you got to let the ankle monitoring company know. And you also need to let your attorney know so they can let the state know. Okay. I'm not going to keep you away from having to go to an appointment with your child. All right. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Calvin Drake, Drake. I think I already said no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. So we'll do $35,000, $10,000, $10,000, and $10,000. 35, 10, 10, and 10. On position 16. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. And Ms. Tracy, on both of these, if there's any sort of hold and they pick you up, you'll have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed back on your ankle. If you don't have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle, that's a violation of your bond conditions. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, ankle monitor paid for by the Orca Project. 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and medical appointments for your child. You can also do work with name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. Turn it over to the state and also turn it over to the ankle monitoring company. I mean, your attorney who will turn over to the state. Stay away from 1107 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard. No further contact with Flanagan, Flanigan, Dominance, Domence, Senior. I'm not going to do the stay away from Wright Street because that would make Mr. Sumanov really, really happy. And let's see, I think maybe there were some co-defendants and I don't think they were listed here though. Wait, yeah, they were. Okay, sorry. No further contact with Cadmar Clark, CADHMAR, Clark, CLARKE, Daylin, DAYLYNE, Collins, COLLINS, and Jermaine Carter, CARTER. No further contact with any of those people.
And Judge, in
Yes.
regards to that, all of those people are inmates in the Fulton County Jail, and Mr. Alatif doesn't have control into where they're housed or where he's housed. So if Your Honor could order the jail to keep them in separate housing so that they can't have contact.
I would assume that Lieutenant McDaniel probably took care of all that once there's something like that that has to happen between people. And no further contact with Juanita, JUANITA Johnson. And
sorry,
on
who?
this one, Juanita Johnson.
Is that a person listed in the warrants, Your Honor?
Yes, it's the mother of the alleged victim, so that'd be somebody who actually,
Okay.
all right. So on there, I'll give a $40,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Justin Taylor. All right, see, sorry, I know it's kind of a glare. You can hear me though, okay, right, sir? 22 CP 208269, Justin Taylor. 282 days without indictment. There is a $120,000 straight bond or good bond as of September the 7th. Armed robbery, hijacking motor vehicle, aggravated assault with intent to rob, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Pre-trial.
2 prior arrests, no dispositions. Both the arrests are out of South Carolina. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Poole.
Judge, my client was born and raised in the Atlanta area. His entire family is here. He graduated from North Atlanta High School. After high school, he went to the University of Kentucky for 1 year. Then he transferred to South Carolina State, where he went for 3 years. And I believe he graduated with a degree in history. He has 2 kids, ages 4 and 6. The last job that he worked was at an apartment complex in maintenance. If the court reduced the bond and if he could make it, he would live off of Hartford Avenue Southwest here in Atlanta. That's 1230 Hartford. And I'm asking the judge to consider reducing the bond to $50,000.
All right. What says the state?
The state's bond recommendation is 30,000 on count 1, 30,000 on count 2, 10,000 on count 3, 10,000 on count 4, for a total of 80,000.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1459 Moreland Avenue and all Wells Fargo bank locations, every single bank location. No further contact with Jabria, Jabrea Harris, and Meaon, last name Owens, Owens. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county through the Orca project with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply proof of employment, the name of your employer, a schedule, and the exact location that you're going to be working, sir. And sorry, I'm not getting out of it. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. I'm pretty sure I said it though. I don't know that there's any holes, but if there is, sir, you'll have 48 hours to have it put on. 30, 30, 10, and 10. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
And Judge, may I be excused?
Yes, sir. So
Thank you.
do we have Gordon Broussard? Robbie Mosley. All right, there we go. Thank you for being patient, sir. All right, Robbie Mosley, 22 CP 208405 is 23. 276 days with no indictment, armed robbery, and there is a $100,000 good bond as of July 21st. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mosley, 31 prior arrests, 5 in Georgia, 26 in Florida, violent criminal history. Currently on probation for battery, family violence, sentenced December the 6th, 2022. Antonisha Killings, victim, 12 months. Prior battery, family violence in Florida, and 08 prior robbery, and 08 prior domestic battery. And 2013, another one in 2013. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Rosenhuber.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Mosley is 32 years old, and he received his GED, and he previously worked at Wahlburgers, and he says that he can return there. Your Honor, he does not currently have housing. However, Ms. Wood was able to get him accepted into the Georgia Works program. So I do have an acceptance letter. It's a 6 to 12 month multi-service program. They help with housing. They help with job security. And at this time, with how high his bond is, he's not able to attend that. Given the amount of time he's been in without indictment, and given the fact that Ms. Wood's client does maintain his innocence and does seek to defend himself in this case when it does come up on calendars, we would ask the court to significantly reduce this bond to $50,000.
All right, what says the state?
The state recommends $75,000 given the defendant's extensive criminal history.
All right, I'll also add this to the email that I send there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Madam DA actually gets a list of how long people have been in jail or whatever before they show up, but at least I'll send it and they'll know what maybe something's coming up on their radar. Hopefully that'll help the state out too. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Joshua Williams. Can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical visits, and any program through the Georgia Works program. Stay away from 3 Fairley Street, Fairlie Street Northwest in Atlanta, Georgia. Like I said, that ankle monitor will be paid for by the county. You can also leave for work as long as you provide proof of employment, name of the employer, schedule, and location, and your time of your working. You have to provide that to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer. On here before I put if they're released from a hold. So I don't know if there's going to be any hold, sir, but you'll have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle if there's any holds, okay? If you don't get to contact them within 48 hours, that'd be a violation of your bond condition. $75,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir, and I'll include this in the case number on that email.
Thank you, Judge. And with the exception of Maddie Cooperwood, who I believe we've removed from the calendar due to the ex parte, I think I'm right about that. But that would be my last case, if I may be excused.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Judge. You do the same and feel better soon.
Thank you. All right, so we're looking for Gregory Watson. Okay. All right, Ms. Gowdy. It's 25. Mr. Watson, you got 2 cases, 22 CP 209-494. 234 days without indictment, crossing guard line or a penal institution with the prohibited items, armed robbery. And there is a $40,000 good bond as of September 27th. 22 CP 211095, Gregory Watson, 234 days, no indictment, aggravated assault. And there is a $35,000 good bond on that one as of September 27th. Pre-trial.
Just a second, Judge. Slow and coming up on that one. Gregory Watson.
I think I got this sickness from you, Bostic, just in case you.
Gregory Watson, prior armed carjacking in 2010 in Maryland, 6 arrests in Maryland, 12 in DC, 5 in Georgia, 19 total. He has an open case for reckless conduct and simple assault from February of this year. He's on probation for aggravated assault and battery, 20 SC 175614, sentenced in 2020, 11 months confinement, 5 years probation. Also robbery by force, Schedule 2 substance and drug-related objects, 22 SC 181362, sentenced March of last year, 1 year confinement, 4 years probation. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Gowdy.
And yes, Your Honor, before the court is Mr. Watson. He is 31 years old. He's been in custody now at the Fulton County Jail, Your Honor, for 234 days, Your Honor, without indictment. We've had a preliminary hearing for both of these cases. There were 3 in the beginning. The third one was dismissed at the prelim for case ending in 095. That is a jail incident, Your Honor. We had the prelim for that one. The officer showed up. The witness is available. Witness is also at the Fulton County Jail. As we speak right now, Your Honor, there should be no concerns about whether or not that case is ready for grand jury. As it relates to the case ending in 494, that is the armed robbery case. Mr. Watson adamantly does maintain his innocence. We were able to get some surveillance footage from the incident location that reflects the incident in part, Your Honor, as well as some of the incidents thereafter. In any event that was brought up at the prelim, Your Honor, officers available that had contact with the victim. The victim, to my understanding, is not a person who's homeless. That person has a residence within the Metro Atlanta area. They have the victim's name, phone number, and address that was on the police report. As such, the state has means to make contact with that victim. It doesn't appear that they've made any efforts or any gain momentum towards actually making contact and gaining whatever they need to actually bring formal charges against Mr. Watson as it pertains to that incident, Your Honor. But in any event, that prelim was held on September the 28th of 2022. It's now going on 4 months later and still no indictment in both of these cases, Your Honor. If released on bond, he does have a good residence in the state of Maryland with his mother. That address is 4209 28th Avenue, Temple Hills, Maryland, zip code 20748. That is the address that is reflected on his booking screen, Your Honor. We understand the recitation of his criminal history, Your Honor. However, in this case, I think Mr. Watson does have a pretty strong defense and he's ready for trial in this case. As it pertains to bond, we're asking for bond to be set as follows. For the jail incident, Your Honor, we're asking for a good bond not to exceed $10,000 total. And as it relates to the other offense on the calendar, we're asking for a good bond not to exceed $15,000 total, Your Honor, with whichever other conditions the court deems necessary to ensure his return to court, Your Honor. Thank you.
So he's going to return back to Maryland, live with his mom?
I mean, that is an address we have for now. If Mr. Watson decides to seek an address elsewhere or cross that bridge when we get there, Your Honor, I have no confidence we'll be able to postpone in either event, Your Honor.
Okay. What says the state?
The state's recommendation on position 25 is $25,000, $5,000 on count 1 and 25 on count 2. And for position 26, our recommendation is the bond remain as set. It's fair and reasonable, given that he is accused of stabbing someone with a shank and cutting them in the face.
Okay, what did you say on 25? Because it's already a 40 and it's 10 and 30.
5 on count 1 and 20 on count 2.
Okay, thank you. I think it's affecting my ears. And I'm sorry, on the second case, you said 25?
Keep it at 35.
Let's keep it 35. Okay. All right. So position 25. No further contact with Demarius Jordan. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 65 10th Street Northeast. You're gonna have ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except for court, medical visits, attorney visits, work, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the location you'll be working. So we'll do 5,000 and 15,000. And sir, stay out of Fulton County. Can only come to Fulton County for court to see your lawyer. If you're going to return to, you have a problem with him going back to Maryland, Miss Burnett? He's going to have the ankle monitor.
No, I don't have a problem.
All right. Stay out of Fulton County. Also stay out of Georgia, unless you come in here for court or to see your lawyer. Is that him pointing like he don't want to?
Yeah, he's saying, I think he's saying he's going to stay here in Georgia, Your Honor.
Where are you going to stay? Fulton County?
I don't have an address here in Fulton County, Your Honor. He's
not going to stay in Fulton County? All right, if you're going to stay in Georgia now, stay out of Fulton County, okay? You got to give that. We're not finished. You got to give Miss Gowdy your address so that she can write it down. Stay out of Fulton County. You can only come here for court and to see your lawyer. And don't come back to Fulton County, sir. No position 26. No further contact with Anthony Reese, R-E-E-S-E. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical attention, work, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the location. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Sir, don't get gas, don't get lunch, don't get a flat tire. Only come straight to the courthouse and leave. Don't stop for any other reason in Fulton County. And 25,000. Best of luck to you, sir. All right, let's see. Now we got Clarence Jackson. Gary Hunt.
Clarence Jackson is here, Judge. He's in 5 North.
Are you Clarence Jackson?
Raise your hand.
Okay. Let's see. Are you Gordon Broussard? Okay. So we're just missing Gary Hunt. All right.
I don't see him anywhere,
Judge.
I'll work on get with Lieutenant to see where he is.
Okay, thanks. All right, Clarence Jackson, 1922 CP 208711, 264 days without indictment. Got a $30,000 good bond as of August the 2nd. Aggravated assault, possession of a knife or possession of a knife during the commission of a felony. Pre-trial.
In regards to Clarence Jackson, 29 prior arrests, currently on probation, aggravated assault, terrorist threats, firearm doing, sentence 5/25/21, 1 year confinement, 4 years probation, 21 SC 177391. Couple of misdemeanors, couple of felonies, other conviction, controlled substance, false imprisonment, 4 arrests for parole violation. Misdemeanors include simple battery, family violence, 1 FTA, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Summerall.
Yes, Judge, and as the court already noted, it has been 264 days since Mr. Jackson was arrested. He is sitting still without indictment. Much like the rest of my cases, this is a single witness case where I inquire from the state if they've had contact with the victim at all since this happened. As far as Mr. Jackson is concerned, I believe Your Honor may have said $200,000 bond. I think it's at $22,000 right now.
Jackson, no, it's 30,000.
Is it 30? I apologize. 30,000. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson is from Georgia. He was born and raised in Georgia. He has significant connections to the community. I know that he has many relatives here. His brother is here. His sister is here, or sister was here until recently, but his brother is here. He is certified in plumbing. He's trained in plumbing. However, he is on disability. He has been disabled for quite a while, Judge. So he is not a man of means, unfortunately, and cannot afford the $30,000 bond. He does have a probation hold. We're still waiting for adjudication on that and for that to be scheduled. But once that is resolved, he wouldn't be able to post a $30,000 bond anyway. So what I'm asking for today is to set a bond that he could afford. I am asking for a significant reduction because of the length of time that he has already been in jail. And I'm asking that the court set the bond below $5,000. This is a case with some self-defense issues that we are itching to adjudicate in Superior Court once it's been indicted. But again, Your Honor, with the length of time on these cases, we're just asking for as low a bond as the court will set. As far as Mr. Jackson, he is residentially challenged. However, he does have a mailing address at 420 Cortlandt Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 30308, where he can receive notice for court.
So where will he be living though?
Probably the shelter on Peter Street. It will be within Fulton County.
Okay. All right. What says the state?
The state's recommendation is that bond is fair and reasonable as said. The allegation is that he stabbed the victim with a pocket knife. And given the defendant's extensive criminal history, I think it's appropriate as said.
Have we heard from the victim? Is Ms. Ferrer still here?
No, I haven't heard from the victim.
Yes, I'm here, but no, I wasn't able to get in touch with the victim.
All right. I'll be glad to add this one to the email too. It's 264, so it won't be too long. So, sir, you got a probation hold. So you have 48 hours to have the ankle monitor placed on you that I'm going to place on you. You have the ankle monitor with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, and medical appointments. Stay away from 357 Auburn Avenue. You have to provide an address upon release. So you have to let the jail know where you're going to be staying. Tell your lawyer so they can file an address with the clerk's office of where you will be living so they can let the state know. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Vernon Sanders, Sanders. 15,000 and 8,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. That ankle one will be paid for by the county. You can leave the booth.
And Your Honor, that concludes my business. I may be excused.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We just need Mr. Rhodes here and Ms. Bray. All right, so we got Gordon Broussard. Ms. Bray.
I'm here.
Okay, I got you. All right, it's position 7. Gordon Broussard. We're on the downhill climb. We only got one after this. Thank goodness. 22 CP 210312. 204 days without indictment. Right now, there is a $138,000 good bond. Let me see. Is that also because there were some charges that were dismissed? Okay, so that doesn't include those, I don't think. yeah, it doesn't include those. All right, so we got possession, distribution, manufacture, sale of marijuana. Possession, controlled substance, Schedule 2 with intent to distribute. Possession of controlled substance, Schedule 2. Possession of methamphetamines with intent to distribute. That was 176 grams. And trafficking in MDMA. Preach. Wow.
14 prior arrests, took a first offender for purchase, manufacture, sale of marijuana, theft by shoplifting, felony, Schedule 4 substance, unlawful for an inmate to purchase and have an item, and at least 5 arrests for probation violation. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor, you have before you Mr. Broussard. He's 29 years old. The address I have for him is in Sewanee, Georgia. That's where he would be living with his mother, Angela Broussard. That address is 4850 Chesterfield Court, Sewanee, Georgia, 30024. Born and raised here in Georgia. He has 2 siblings two sisters, Leah and Ashley, who also reside here in Georgia. Prior to his arrest, he previously worked for Dennis Taylor and Company. That's a construction company. If released, he would try and resume that job, Your Honor, or get a job in construction. He is the father of 2 children who also live here in the state of Georgia, and he obtained his GED in 2011. I am asking Your Honor to substantially reduce the bond. When he came in, it was $100,000. We did the prelim. I got some charges dismissed, but then Judge Drake increased the bond on the charges that she did find PC on. So I don't even know if I helped Mr. Broussard on that day, even though I got rid of some of his charges. So yeah, I'm asking you to cut the bond in half.
All right. What's it, Mr. Fortune? Is this yours?
It is, that's correct, Judge. I would just ask for 75,000 good bond, 10,000 on charges 1 through 3. On count 4, 15,000, and trafficking 30,000 for a total of 75,000. This is a victimless crime, so we would ask for that bond amount.
10, 10, 10,
15, and 30.
15, and 30. 10, 10, 10, 15, and 30. You got that, Ms. Bray? Did a good job,
yes.
Ms. Bray. Good job, Ms. Bray. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 15, and 30. Stay out of Fulton County, sir, unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Don't come back to Fulton County. Fill up with gas in Sewanee. Go straight to the courthouse. Don't get a flat tire. Don't stop at Chick-fil-A. Don't stop at Chipotle. All right, any of those places. Stay away from 5570 Roswell Road, which shouldn't be a problem because that's in Fulton County. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And this had before that there was a hold. Ms. Bray, is there a hold? Whoops, she walked off.
Spalding County, if I'm not mistaken, Spalding.
All right, so if you have that hold in Spalding County, sir, you'll have 48 hours to get in touch with the ankle monitoring company to have that ankle monitor placed back on your ankle. How old is he, Miss Bray?
29.
Mama's not here. Follow the rules of your house. Sir, here's one of my conditions. If your mother posts your bond, Miss Aaron, write this down, and she has come out of pocket 12% to pay for your bond, you have to pay your mother back that money. Do you understand me? Nod your head yes. You pay your mother back every single penny she has to pay. You have to follow the rules of the house and do whatever chores. Take out the trash, sweep the floor, whatever. Follow the rules of the house. It's your mama's house, not your house. Let's see. That's still there. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. I don't think there was a code to fit it. So I'll go with that 10, 10, 10, 15, and 30. And that 24-hour curfew is court, lawyer, medical, and employment, because you're going to have to pay your mama some rent since you're living there. So just let us know, let the state know. I'm sorry, Ms. Bray know. Name of your employer, the location, the schedule, the exact location you're going to be working, and let the ankle monitoring company know too, sir, so they won't suspend your revoke your probate. File to revoke it since you left the area. Okay. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right.
Includes my business, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I got. And you're going to handle this with Miss Hanson, Gary Hunt.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for hanging in there with me. You, Mr. Hunt. You, Mr. Hunt. There you go. All right. Position 6. It's the last one. 22 CP 212924. Gary Jamar Hunt. 108 days without indictment. No bond as of December the 31st. Been in 108 days. Aggravated assault, simple battery, family violence. Willfully failed to report abuse of disabled elderly person pursuant to 30-5-4. Preach. Ah.
3 prior arrests, open case 22 SC 1855533, aggravated assault, family violence, 2 count, terrorist assaults, 2 counts, interference with government property, simple assault, assigned to Judge Schwall. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Hanson.
Your Honor, Mr. Hunt's problems all relate to his stepfather. He is a native of Florida. The family has lived here for the last 5 years. He was shot in the head back when he lived in Florida. He has a wound to his temple, comes out the back of his head. And since then, he has suffered not only from the complications that arise from having a bullet go through your brain, but also from mental health issues, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and so forth. His parents do not want him prosecuted. Quite frankly, the problems have come from him not having anything to do. He is home all day. The stepfather is a very disciplined person. He doesn't want people laying around the house and inviting people that he finds distasteful in the home. And the two run into a conflict. And so I've spoken with the stepfather, Mr. Mays. I've spoken with his mother, with Gary's mother, Mrs. Mays. And they simply don't know what to do sometimes when he acts up. Mr. Hunt or Mr. Mays calls the police because he is a self-described MMA martial artist. He has a black belt and he has background in the military, and he does not want to hurt Gary. So he calls the police to keep from having to control him physically because he's afraid he might hurt him. So he is not an elderly person in the traditional sense of the word. He is 69 years old. But this is not a case where an elder has been laying around the house being abused or not being fed, not having their diapers changed, and getting bed sores. It is misdemeanor elder abuse. That said, there are some domestic issues going on inside the home. I am working with my sentencing mitigation coordinator to try to find a program for Mr. Hunt to go to during the day where he has something that gets him out of the house and gives him something to do. He goes home at night to sleep, and he's tired. So I think that will work out for him better. He is associated with Grady Behavioral Health already. He goes to them monthly. He gets his medications there. I think that it would be reasonable to make a bond condition that he go to Grady Behavioral Health on a weekly basis so that they monitor him better and make sure that he's on his medications, and that he, of course, have no violent contact with his family. So I would ask, Your Honor, he is entitled to a bond for $5,000 on the aggravated assault and $500 for each of the last 2 misdemeanors.
Is he going to live at the MLK address that's on the booking sheet?
Yes.
Is that then that's with his parents?
That is with his parents. He does have a brother with him he can live. I have not spoken with the brother, however.
Right. What says the state?
The state's bond recommendation is $20,000 on count 1 and $5,000 on each of the remaining counts for a total of $30,000.
Have you folks had a chance to speak with not that I'm not trusting Ms. Hanson, but y'all have a chance to speak with the dad, Ms. Ferreira?
No, I haven't.
I spoke with Ms. Hollander by email earlier today. She's of course, she's in charge of the elder care and special victims. I'm sorry, my brain's not working after 8:30. So, but she would be in charge, I think, of the prosecution because of that charge. And I think this is something that we will be able to work out and we can manage. But ultimately, for right now, he's been to a preliminary hearing. And of course, he was indicted on that other case that's now before Judge Schwall. So that preliminary hearing didn't take place. So there has been some conversation about this case.
Ms. Hanson, is it possible to get a direct number to speak to him?
To speak to whom?
The victim. The victim himself.
I just called the number that was on the police report, but I'd be glad to send that to you.
That would be great.
Okay.
So, well, I guess I'm asking the state, are you okay with no further violent contact? Sounds like Dad can.
Yes, that's fine.
Take care of himself. All right. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further violent contact with Michael Mays, Mays. So I'd put stay away from there, but no. All right, you're gonna have a ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, except, sir, you're gonna have to report to the graded behavioral health on a weekly basis. Lawyer, medical, and what else can he do? What else can we get him to do?
Therapy.
Yeah, sir, get you in some, I'm sure that Ms. Hanson can get you into some sort of therapy so that you can do that, okay? But whatever you leave for is to get you some help. Okay? But I want you to get some help. And I don't know, there's got to be something that can get you some help, okay? But you got to follow the rules of the house, okay? And that ankle monitor is going to show the state whether or not you go. So we'll do 25 and 5. That ankle monitor will be paid for by the county and the Orca project. But you got to go to the graded behavioral health at least once a week and check in, okay? If they have anything else they want you to do to try to help, I want you to participate in that too, okay? All right. Best of luck to you, sir. Thank you.
Judge Randall, I have 3 charges, 25,
Yeah.
5 on.
I got 20,000, 5 and 5.
Oh, okay.
All right. Is
Thank
there anything else? Anybody? Bostic?
Yes, Your Honor. I have one last thing. I just need the bond for Mr. Joseph Taylor, who's position 1 on the calendar. I got that the ag assault was reduced to 7. I didn't get what the possession of firearm or knife was reduced to.
Hold on a second. Paper. I did 5 and 7.
Wait, what was reduced to 5?
It wasn't possession 1, but it was 5 and then 7.
Oh, so you didn't reduce the firearm or knife?
No, I just kept it at 5.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate it, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Feel better, Your Honor.
All right.